We told you at the top of the show about the way Hurricane Matthew now downgraded to Category 1, but still going to affect a lot of games.
Wow.
North Carolina State and Notre Dame, Ryan Finley, he's going to have the wet ball drill was important this week.
Boise State transfer has really settled in very nicely in Raleigh. Hasn't thrown a pick yet all year, and we'll see how he and DeShone Kizer both handle that wet ball today.
Yeah.
Obviously, going to be a factor.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yes, sir.
Noon Eastern time on ABC. DeShone Kizer, Brian Kelly says this guy's a flat pro. We're going to find out exactly how well he can do in terrible conditions. The remnants of Hurricane Matthew being there. There could be up to 8 inches of rain for this Notre Dame North Carolina State game, which comes up on ABC.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you're going to have to be able to control things. Boise State transfer Ryan Finley doing a really good job. How about Matthew Days? They have balance. They can run the football, tremendous athletic ability. They will challenge Notre Dame's defense. It's going to be up to Kizer not only take care of the ball, but look for some opportunities to try to be able to make plays to stay up with the Wolfpack. And they score.
Look at this loyal Wolfpack fan.
You got to be a real gamer.
Well, there's clearly
show up. Yeah, you're
exactly.
a gamer.
There's another one.
I know Des would be right there.
Oh, man.
Especially watching Notre Dame.
Des is, in fact, Des is trying to get over there.
Balmy, beautiful day as the Aggies will take on Tennessee. As we take a look inside the Notre Dame preparations, they get ready for NC State this week's AT&T Inside Access. You see that?
Two hands on the ball, boys.
Not a good look.
No, 2 hands on the ball with those quarterbacks today, running backs.
Could be 8 inches of rain as the remnants of Hurricane Matthew coming down on Raleigh there. AT&T Inside Access. Most 20-yard completions among Power 5 quarterbacks this season. Davis Webb has 35, but not far behind is DeShone Kizer of Notre Dame with 27. Kizer going to lead his team into very difficult conditions, kicking off in 24 minutes over at ABC. And working out with the rain gear, ready for some serious football is Tom Luganbill with Brian Kelly.
Coach, obviously the weather conditions aren't ideal. Rain, everybody figures it affects the quarterbacks, but the wind has a major effect on your football team too. How do you prep for something like this?
Well, we're going to obviously pregame. We'll find out what it looks like, but you know, you got to keep your cleats in the ground. Obviously, translate speed to power. You know, to tackle in these kind of conditions. And then, you know, obviously the kicking game is going to be impacted. So we'll see what the wind situation is. You know, they're going to allow us to get 36 balls into the game. It's usually 18. So they'll do everything. The officials are really good at keeping the balls dry, moving in and out of the game. I'm not as concerned about that. It's more about probably field position in the kicking game.
All right, Coach, from a defensive perspective, you started to infuse some youth in some different areas, simplify things a little bit. How would you assess the progress of this team from the last 2 quarters against Syracuse as you enter into this game?
Well, they're playing free, and I think when you have 4 freshmen back there, you got to let them use their athletic ability. They're good athletes, and we got to let them play. I think they're feeling confident that they can go out there now and play and not be, you know, paralysis by analysis, and I think that's the most important thing.
All right, Coach, thanks. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, Tom, stay dry because DeShone Kizer's not going to. It's an interesting note that Brian Kelly brought up that they'll have twice the number of footballs available as usual.
And they're going to have to. Ball security is going to be at a premium today in this ball game with those conditions.
I think eventually it's going to cost somebody the game today. Who's going to be able to hold on to the ball? Which quarterback manages that, I think, will be the difference in the game.
And you see one of the targets that DeShone Kizer will have, Equanimous St. Brown.
EQ up there representing.
Yeah, the ball in EQ. I wonder what's the overall turnovers in this game today, huh?
Hey, here's one for you. Niles Morgan.
Solid inside linebacker.
I tell you what, the Notre Dame defense, Greg Hudson's tried to give them a little bit of a looser attack mentality, showed them Ric Flair videos to get them ready.
So it's a lot like what we've seen with what LSU has tried to do in the middle of the year to change the mindset, get this team playing with a little bit more belief, and I think Brian Kelly said more kind of a collegiate attitude, more with passion.
And there is Ryan Finley, as Kirk mentioned earlier, the Boise State transfer is yet to throw an interception. That will be sorely tested by the wind, the rain, conditions. This is a game that could really help get Dave Doran to take that next step. They're looking for some type of signature win, and even though Notre Dame has lost this year, doesn't have a great record, it's still a marquee win for them.
On a dry field with Finley and Days, the running back, they are really, really difficult for teams to slow down. The weather today may make it difficult for them, but you're right. Big opportunity for this offense and for the Wolfpack in general against the Irish.
Presentation of ESPN on ABC.
ABC College Football is presented by Walmart. Welcome to rainy and windy Raleigh. The weather getting worse by the minute here at Carter-Finley Stadium as Notre Dame looks to get back to 500 and avoid its worst start in a decade, taking on a North Carolina State team hoping to be a contender in the ACC. Now, we're only about 100 miles from the fringe of Hurricane Matthew, so it's been pouring steadily since the early morning hours. And the wind is picking up and could reach 45 miles an hour here today. And hi, everybody. Dave Pasch alongside Greg McElroy. Tom Luganbill will join us in a minute. You know, Greg, these two quarterbacks in this game are really good. Deshaun Kaiser could be the top quarterback taken in the NFL draft. Ryan Finley for NC State has not thrown an interception this year. But this is a different challenge, to say the least, for these two guys.
It's going to be wild. The good news is both teams have to deal with it. The weather is incredibly difficult. The balls are wet. Even things that you take for granted, like getting a snap from the center, you have to focus on it. You see Deshaun Kaiser right there struggling a little bit. And then Finley on the other end, he secures the snap, but pauses a half second to make sure he had good grip on the football. Throwing it, catching it, getting it from center, getting it in shotgun becomes so tough in elements like this, Tom.
Well, it certainly does, Greg, and it's not just the moisture, it's the wind too, and how it affects the kicking game. There are so many mechanics that go into it. Consider you got the short snap on a PAT field goal. That holder's got to secure the ball, get it down. The kicker's got to approach it, maintain his footing. The putter's got to take the long snap and be able to secure it and get the ball off. And even fielding a kickoff, you got to deal with wind and you've got to deal with moisture. But so what we're going to see is we're going to see the ball on the ground, aren't we? So there is, believe it or not, a right way and a wrong way of recovering a fumble. You don't want to pounce on it. You want to secure it with a fetal position where you get down here like this and we secure the football so that the ball doesn't pop out on you and see it squirt all across the field. We'll take a look at that today.
Anything for an Emmy. Notre Dame hoping to receive a fumble, one of two teams that hasn't this year. Good seats available. Only the brave venture out as we return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome to ABC College Football presented by Walmart. Notre Dame and NC State from Raleigh, and you're watching the ACC on ESPN. As we mentioned earlier, winds could gust up to 45 miles an hour. Heavy rain expected all through the day and the night here in Raleigh. Notre Dame won the toss, elected to receive.
Smart decision because they expect things to get worse from a weather standpoint after half. Going to be easier to move the football early on.
Here's C.J. Sanders, who has a kick return for a touchdown this year. Trying to get his footing, and he's dragged down to the 21-yard line. Making his 17th consecutive start at quarterback is Deshaun Kaiser, a junior from Toledo, Ohio, who over the last 3 games has thrown for almost 1,200 yards, including 471, a career high last week against Syracuse. He's accounted for 20 touchdowns, including 6 on the ground. So 1st and 10 for the Irish on the 20-yard line. Kaiser changing things up here on the first play. And a blitz by NC State to start the game. Kaiser's pass is on the money to the 25-yard line to Sanders. A 5-yard pickup.
And a good throw by Deshaun Kaiser. I think this guy is going to hear his name called very early in the NFL draft. A lot of experts think he might be the #1 overall pick, and I have a hard time disagreeing when you look at the way he throws the football.
Throws a great deep ball. We'll wonder how much we'll see of that, though, today. Kaiser looking downfield, going to air it out, and it is nearly intercepted. Jarius Moorhead in coverage. Now, was that the throw, or did the receiver run the wrong route that time?
It's the throw. The receiver's releasing vertical, and in these gusts of wind, you'll see big-time misses like that. And Deshaun Kaiser, from time to time over the course of the last few games, has gotten a little greedy with the football. That was an example of that, setting up now a difficult 3rd and 5 in a rainstorm.
So that was not a design shot. That was his decision to throw deep there?
Yes.
You see Adams leaving the backfield. Kaiser going to throw it to him out in space. And tried to spin away from the defender, but loses yardage. Tracked down by Gerard Fernandez. So Notre Dame goes 3 and out to start the game.
Good job by this NC State defense. Defense players love this weather. It's old school football, man. They got to be flying around and wrapping up. Not what you want if you're a Notre Dame fan early.
Oh, the snap was not great, but Newsome able to get it and get rid of it, and it's a decent punt. And a flag down as Notre Dame did not give the return man, Braylon Cherry, room to catch the football. Jeff Heiser, our referee.
Personal foul, kick catch interference, kicking team number 8, 15-yard penalty, first down.
So that'll put the ball near midfield for North Carolina State on its first possession. Ryan Finley, sophomore quarterback from Phoenix, Arizona, one of the nation's leaders in completion percentage. As we mentioned, no picks thrown this year. He was at Boise State last year. He graduated in 3 years, started 3 games, and he has 3 years of eligibility left. He got a medical redshirt 1 year. He's taking online grad courses right now and is a sophomore quarterback. And here's a flea flicker, and it's through the hands of Finley. And then he throws it away. Wow, they start with trickery in these conditions. Wow. It almost results in disaster.
Unbelievable, Dave. That was something that I just don't even know why you would attempt something like that. With field position being a premium in these conditions, Greg, that's unbelievable right there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with the call right there. Get your quarterback off to a nice rhythm. Get him confident in the game. Don't agree with the call by Eli Drinkwitz on the first snap of the game there.
Drinkwitz's first year as the OC. He was with Finley at Boise State. Here's an end around to Jalen Samuels, and he's got running room, pushed out near the first down. Samuels will do it all for this NC State offense. That's his 15th carry on the season. He also has 20 catches on the year.
Try to get him involved early. He's a great receiver. He's a runner. He can play outside, inside. He's actually listed as a fullback, but he is a talented individual that's a matchup nightmare for defensive coordinators.
So a first down for NC State at the Notre Dame 40-yard line. Hand off to Matt Days off the right side. Powers for about 5 yards. Days averages over 100 yards per game.
I think he's one of the best running backs that a majority of college football fans don't know about. The guy's explosive. He's consistent. He's strong. He hits the hole extremely hard. He's good in protection. He's very underappreciated nationally. With a big game here against obviously a national brand, he could jump on the spotlight for a lot of teams, especially those in the NFL.
And a guy you need on a day like this. Here's Samuels again with running room. Past the 25 before he's pushed out by Cole Luke. That's an 11-yard run and a first down for North Carolina State.
NC State, 3 out of the last 4 games, they've scored on their opening possession. They're really a good football team in the first quarter. Doesn't seem to be slowing them down this weather already here. Driving and marching on the cusp of the red zone against the Irish.
Jalen Samuels with 7 touchdowns this year. He had 16 last year, a mix of rushing scores and receiving touchdowns. That's him in the slot there at the top of your screen. They run Days. Tripped up and falls down at the 21. A 3-yard run for Days. NC State has dominated the first quarter here at home, outscoring teams 31-7. They've scored on their opening drive in each game here at Carter-Finley Stadium. Their only loss this year was at East Carolina. They lost that game by a field goal. They just beat Wake Forest last week. The schedule gets tough this week. Next week, Clemson on the road, and then at Louisville the following week. Again, trouble with the snap, and in the backfield was Dalen Hayes as Finley covered up the football back at the 27, a 6-yard loss.
And it's a good snap by the center. Hits you right in the numbers. You can see Finley, his head goes just to the right, getting ready to hand the ball off to the running back. But Lukes, you talked about it. You got to double over the ball. Slid right in the fetal position. Well done, my friend.
Exactly right. You don't want that ball squirting out on you. Hey, fellas, this is a driving northeast rain right now going in the direction of NC State's offense.
Here's 3rd and 13. They fake the jet sweep. Finley rolling out, and the pass is caught. Braylon Cherry with a first down grab. Boy, that was a money throw on 3rd and long into this rain.
Bobbled the snap a little there, too. Doesn't throw the prettiest ball, and a little bit too far inside. But a good job by Braylon Cherry securing it with his body, knowing the yard to gain to get the first down, and they pick up a huge first on 3rd and plus.
Well, what should we expect? I mean, we're not going to see a lot of spirals today.
No. Don't be ashamed if you throw a duck in this weather.
First down at the 13-yard line. Out of the pistol and a handoff. Inside the 15 is Days and pushed back. Jerry Tillery in there along with Tavon Coney. This Notre Dame defense has really struggled this year, in the hundreds in most categories. Maybe the weather will help. You said the defense has the advantage in this situation. They don't have a fumble recovery this year. Only 4 takeaways, only 3 sacks on the year, and 2 of those came last week. They've allowed 30 or more points 4 times. On 2nd and 9, the pitch to Hines, and he's drilled at the 10-yard line. Cleaned up at the 9. Coney with the initial hit, a pickup of 3, and it will be 3rd down.
And this is a big down for this Notre Dame defense. Look, last week in the first quarter, they gave up 200+ yards to Syracuse. In the first half, they gave up 27 points. After halftime, though, they played so much better. They were wanting to carry over some of that momentum. So getting off the field right here and forcing a field goal opportunity for NC State is going to be big for this team's confidence defensively.
Yeah, more on that situation with the defensive coaches a little bit later for Notre Dame. 3rd down and 6. The rollout for Finley. Looking back. End zone open man. Touchdown. It's Cole Cook with a touchdown grab. Penalty marker is down on the play.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Number 48 in the offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So the guy that caught the touchdown was illegally downfield. Cole Cook.
And we'll take a peek. Look at the receiver on the right-hand side. That's Stephon Lewis. He's on the football covering up Cole Luke, which makes him ineligible. And you can see.
So is that on the receiver?
Right there. That's on the receiver and the quarterback. The quarterback has to look out and tell his wide receiver, hey, Stephon, back off the football. That's a mechanical issue. Points are at a premium. You can't make mistakes in alignment. That's a critical mistake by this NC State offense.
That's a great point, though, because most people just assume the tight end made the mistake there, but it's the receiver and the quarterback. So 3rd and 11. Here's Finley pumping, firing, incomplete. Broken up inside the 10. Lewis was the intended receiver. And so the Irish, as Nico Fertitta makes the hit, forces NC State to try a field goal.
Pay close attention, guys, to the mechanics of this snap here. Short snapper to holder to kicker. It is a muddy track right now.
Kyle Bombard is 3 of 3 this year, but last year he was 7 of 14. So he's had his struggles. Anybody would struggle in this stuff. 31-yard try. And it's wide to the right. The snap and the hold looked good, but the kick wasn't. And so NC State has a touchdown wiped out because of an offensive penalty, then a missed 31-yard field goal. Empty possession for NC State is what it comes down to. Are the Miami Hurricanes for real? We might find out tonight on ABC. It's the Sunshine State Showdown without the sunshine. Miami and Florida State. It's cloudy there. Obviously, Florida, one of the states impacted by Hurricane Matthew. You can see the game on ABC tonight, also streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. So Notre Dame with its second possession. After the missed field goal, the Irish taking over on the 20, and they keep it on the ground with Josh Adams. He makes it to the 24.
I want to go back to this penalty. Look at Stephon Lewis. He is on the line of scrimmage, therefore making Cole Luke, as he releases downfield, ineligible. That's on not only Stephon Lewis to get off the football, but on Ryan Finley to look out there and say, hey, buddy, back off a little bit and make sure that you're off the line of scrimmage. Just poorly executed in the pre-snap by the quarterback and receiver.
They hand it off to, again, Adams. It's maybe 2 with Josh Jones, who might be the best player right now in the secondary for NC State. When last year the coaches felt he might have been their worst player back there, he's really improved. He's their leading tackler. Made the stop there, bringing up 3rd and 4.
I think you can probably keep it on the ground right here if you're Notre Dame. Maybe a run to the right-hand side because of the numbers.
If they do throw it, Kaiser is 2 of 3 passing so far. The one incompletion was on a deep ball. 3rd and 4. Kaiser in trouble. Gets away from a sack. Can still throw it and does. And it's a first down catch at the 31-yard line. Boy, what a smart play by Kaiser. Hanging in there, finding Durham Smythe to move the sticks.
Outstanding job because they dropped everybody here. You see they rush forward. Deshaun Kaiser very patient in the pocket, strong in the pocket too, shedding the would-be sack and then keeping his eyes downfield, finding an open receiver for a first down. Well done by the outstanding quarterback.
Man, look at that. It is getting worse. When we got here this morning, it was raining hard, but it has really picked up here. And you see the footing. Adams trying to cut upfield. He steps out of bounds after a short gain, 3 or 4 yards for Josh Adams. Last year set the freshman record at Notre Dame in rushing. Off to a good start this year as well. Averaging 5 yards a carry.
He's a good back. Folston, Williams, who we'll talk about. I really like the talented sophomore. They got a bunch of good players on this Notre Dame offense.
Yeah, offense has not been the problem. They're scoring and they're getting a lot of chunk plays as well through the air. Here's Adams run out of bounds by Josh Jones. And in terms of yards per play, they're in the top 15. Total offense top 25. Scoring, they're in the top 30. But again, it's on the other side of the ball. Biggest reason why Notre Dame is 2 and 3.
But in situations like this Notre Dame offense, they are outstanding, but they're explosive. I mean, they want to throw the ball down the field. You already mentioned how Deshaun Kaiser is maybe the best deep ball thrower in college football. In elements like this and wind, it's very difficult to keep your offensive identity.
And here is Dexter Williams. No way. No chance. NC State was all over that. Hernandez and Wright along with Contavious Street. So it's 4th down and Notre Dame making a decision on whether to go for it. And too early in the game, they're going to punt it. Now flooding here. By the way, happy anniversary to Carter-Finley Stadium. This is the 50-year anniversary to the date when the stadium opened, but know that anybody's celebrating that right now. I think everybody's just happy to be dry. And a bad punt off the side of the foot. Although maybe by the end of the day we'll be saying that's a good punt as the conditions continue to worsen here in Raleigh.
College football presented by Walmart. Save money. Live better.
Welcome back to ABC College Football presented by Walmart. We're being told that if we lose power up here, these guys will call the rest of the game from the field.
Tell you what, I need to grow my hair out like that. It's a good look.
No.
You don't like it?
No.
I think you should do it, Dave.
I can't.
You both have no chance.
Luke's is our only chance, Luke. Start growing, my man.
I'll do what I can for the team, boys.
Yeah, we've already seen that today with you diving on the ground in the puddle to recover the fumble.
Hey, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
I tell you, though, these fans deserve a lot of credit coming out today. A lot of people wondering, should this game have even been played, given that there were some other games moved to Sunday. Obviously, the Florida LSU game was postponed. We're about an hour and a half from the fringe of Hurricane Matthew. Normally, each team gets 12 footballs in an ACC game. They have allowed each team today to use 36 different balls so they can keep the football as dry as possible. And now we have a headset issue on one of the sidelines, which means both sidelines have to get rid of the headset so they have an equal playing field.
They're also getting a ball substitution here, which they're not going to do as much of unless the ball comes to the sideline outside of the numbers. But with the delay due to the timeout, they forced a switch right here.
Well, maybe they fixed them. They still got the headsets on both sides. Maybe they just fixed it there, and they were down briefly. NC State going to run the football here. Matt Day's getting outside, turns on the Jets, and picks up a first down, a gain of 11. Well, as we mentioned, the Notre Dame defense has been the problem. Brian Van Gorder was fired a couple weeks ago after the Duke loss. Greg Hudson, who was a former Notre Dame player and originally hired as an analyst, gets the defensive coordinator job. And talking with Brian Kelly this week, he says it's more of a collegial atmosphere now with Hudson. He's a fiery guy. He ran out there during a drill this week to bat down a pass. You know, Van Gorder did coach in college, but most of his time was spent in the NFL. Fresh set of downs. Another run play for Days. Nice cut. Days has the first down as he keeps his feet. Finally dragged down as he slides another 5 yards. There is a penalty marker down, though.
Holding. Defense, number 75. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Rare defensive holding call. But a great run by Matt Days. Breaking a tackle on Drew Tranquil. Breaking another tackle. That's the problem with this Notre Dame defense. They haven't been sound in tackling. They haven't been able to line up correctly, especially against tempo offenses. And they haven't played confidently within the system. Greg Hudson is going to change that. That's the #1 goal for Brian Kelly. Go out there, believe in what you're doing, and have faith that we're going to put you in the correct position. Right there, though, that's just a lack of fundamentals in the secondary when it comes to tackle.
Yeah, it's a 23-yard gain, so they actually declined that holding call. NC State was just down here, had a touchdown called back because of an offensive penalty, and then missed a field goal. They're in the red zone again. And Finley will hand it off to Samuels, and good sound play there by Devin Studstill.
Hey, Greg, one thing to notice here, you can take a look here with Samuels. You can see it with Matthew Days. Notice how the tips of their fingers have white tape around their hands. Notice how none of the receivers have gloves on. The material with the gloves gets so slick with moisture, you're better off to put athletic tape, and that's why NC State here doing a good job securing the football under these conditions.
Days in trouble in the backfield and dragged down for a loss. James Unwalu 6 tackles for a loss on the year now for the senior from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Onwalu cashed in, but it's big Isaac Rochelle that forced Days to run to the outside. Rochelle's been the most consistent player up front. He's played a lot of football. He's a big body. He'll play on Sundays, no doubt about it. The Notre Dame defense needs more plays like this, especially in driving rainstorm, forcing negative plays and difficult situations for the offense.
That puts NC State in 3rd and 16 and probably out of field goal range. So Finley's just going to try to get some yardage here. And he does. He picks up a handful to the 20. So that'll make it a little bit easier on the kicking team. It's 4th down and 11. The kickers haven't gone out there yet. And NC State may go for it here. I think, Greg, you give it one more shot to kick. You're not going to pick up 4th and 11. Give it one more shot to kick the ball. And then if it doesn't work, you know you need to go away from that the rest of the game. But they decide to go for it on 4th and 11. And a timeout called by Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
You agree with that?
I think I'm with you. I think kick it. Points are so difficult to come by in this situation. We'll see whether or not NC State decides to kick it.
The long snapper and holder are going to get mentioned more today than in any other game you'll watch this year. Tyler Griffiths, A.J. Cole. The kicker is Kyle Bambard. They missed a 31-yard attempt earlier. Now on 4th and 11, they decide to kick again, a 38-yard try. A liner that gets over the crossbar and puts the Wolfpack on the board. It's like he made a game-winning kick the way they're celebrating.
It's a great kick. I don't know what to tell you. When we read about it in the almanac, it'll be a beauty, end over end, right down the pipe. Maybe not the reality. 3-0 pack.
You're watching the ACC on ESPN. A driving rainstorm here in Raleigh. Notre Dame and NC State. It's 3-0 after the Wolfpack just kicked a 38-yard field goal. They've been in the red zone twice. Notre Dame, meanwhile, has not gotten past midfield. And this probably is the most important person in the entire stadium today. The guy that's keeping the footballs dry. Or the gal. And when NC State was lining up for that last field goal, they were actually out there when the commercial break started. So for 2 minutes, they actually switched the footballs out a couple times because they didn't want them getting wet.
It's not even about how slick they are sometimes, too. If the ball absorbs the moisture, it gets heavier. So it's harder to throw. And I mean, you throw the same ball 10 million times as a quarterback or kick it 10 million times as a kicker. When it gets heavier, it can throw off some of the equilibrium. I didn't think I'd say that on the air today.
Maples with the kickoff. A liner that hit the hand of an Irish player, but it is a touchback as that ball just died in the end zone before Fink got to it. Let's check in with Cassidy Hubbard in our ABC studios.
Thanks, Dave. Taco Bell studio update. Maryland looking to remain unbeaten and get their first 5-0 start in 15 years. This will help. Perry Hills to Ty Johnson, and he does the rest. 66 yards for 6. The Terrapins have tied it up at 7 in Happy Valley. Dave, Greg, back to you.
All right, Cassidy, Notre Dame out there for the 3rd time on offense. Last week, you saw Kaiser tear it up. Now, they were perfect conditions, and they were playing Syracuse's defense. It's a little bit different here with the weather. As that goes over the head of Kaiser, the ball dies at the 10. Kaiser gets it back at the 6. Both players slid an additional 5 yards on the ground. Bradley Chubb had the first crack at it.
Lugs, we laughed at you.
I know you did.
We laughed at you in the open as you tried to talk about recovering a football in this weather. Bradley Chubb dives right on top of it. The slick ball shoots forward.
Exactly, right?
And Kaiser's able to
You got to get the field position, Greg.
You have to.
That was a loss of 19. How can you see the ball when you dive for it? When you hit the ground, water splashes into your eyes. So 2nd and 29. Straight ahead, Dexter Williams pulled back. Fernandez has been on every stop. He looks like he loves to play in this weather. So a short gain there. It'll bring up 3rd down and long when the second quarter begins.
What a field position nightmare, Greg, for Notre Dame right now, because there's no answers. There's nothing scheme can do. There's nothing talent can do right now. This is all about the elements, and the momentum is on the side of the red guys.
You're holding up good, though, buddy.
Aren't I?
3-0. NC State leads Notre Dame. And we'll return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Week 5 Monday Night Football matchup, an NFC South showdown. Team that was in the NFC Championship game last year, the Carolina Panthers, but 1-3, taking on Jameis Winston and the Buccaneers. Tampa got off to a good start, but has struggled of late. Our coverage starts with Monday Night Countdown at 6. Notre Dame starting the second quarter with a 3rd and 27 from its 8-yard line. And the Irish will just keep it on the ground with Dexter Williams. And he gets maybe 5 or 6. And Tyler Newsome will have to punt from his 1 or 2 yard line.
Special teams, once again, this is becoming a field position game. At some point, Notre Dame has to either get their ground game going or take a shot or 2 downfield. Right now, they're going with the wind. So if they're going to take a shot, this would be the quarter to do so.
Scott Daly is the long snapper. Did a pretty good job. And Newsome, with the help of the wind, absolutely smokes that punt. It dies at the 17. A 59-yard boot. And these are the kind of plays you celebrate on a day like this. A bomb by Newsome, and NC State backed up inside its 20.
Our mentality is the NASCAR mentality, is it not? We're going to drive fast today, man. We're going to drive fast, but we're not going to crash the car, right? I watched you guys play catch with a muddy, filthy football yesterday. No problems, man. No problems at all. It's all about one thing. Focus.
AT&T Inside Access with NC State head coach Dave Dorn addressing his team pregame. It's his 4th year here with the Wolfpack. They went to the Belk Bowl last year, won 7 games, 8 games 2 years ago. His team up 3-0 on Notre Dame. Trying to get to 4-1 in the season. Here's Hines, and he stumbles and makes it to the 20, picking up 3 yards. Ryan Finley, the starting quarterback, had an interesting journey. He was at Boise State, graduated in 3 years. The offensive coordinator there, Eli Drinkwitz, he's now the OC here, teaming up with Finley again.
They were not a package deal. Drinkwitz was here in December. In January, Finley just arrived a few months ago. And Finley's been very impressive. Throwing the ball accurately, making good decisions, and beat out a very talented backup quarterback in Jalen McClendon.
Here's Hines again. And he gets another 3 yards, brought down by Tavon Coney.
You can take a peek at McClendon there. 6'5", 212 pounds. Has dynamite speed, can really run the football. He does play quite a bit when they get in the red zone. Has had opportunities. But Finley's been their man, and he has led them, obviously, to a 3-1 start. Looking for 4-1 today.
And 120 straight attempts without an interception. That's the best at NC State since 1980. That goes off the hands of Finley. He had trouble with the snap, and so Notre Dame's going to get off the field here. Finley thought there should have been a penalty on Jay Hayes, the defender for Notre Dame, who came in there with a hit. It's 4th down.
It's a the second time he's let a ball get through his hands. I'd have to agree with Finley. I don't think that hit right there, after Finley was clearly down, was necessary. Notre Dame's got to be smarter than that. If I was the official wearing a white hat, that's a penalty all day long.
Tough to slow down, though, in this weather, as the punter corrals it. And it will go out of bounds near midfield. Best starting field position yet for Notre Dame after just a 30-yard punt by NC State.
College football presented by Walmart. Brought to you by Pacific Life, helping generations of families achieve long-term financial security for over 145 years.
Welcome back to ABC College Football presented by Walmart. NC State in front of Notre Dame, 3-0 early second quarter on a day full of rain and wind, and it's getting worse here at Carter-Finley Stadium. Notre Dame, after a 59-yard punt by Tyler Newsome and then a bad punt by NC State, has good field position. A strike to Equinemius St. Brown, his 26th catch of the season. Had one catch all of last year.
Greg, you could make the argument that aside from NC State's field goal, the most important play of this game was the previous punt by Notre Dame to finally flip field position after the first quarter. They force a 3-and-out on defense. Now look where this offense sits in prime position with the wind at their back.
And Tom, this is an important quarter for Notre Dame too. Second quarter, they have the wind at their back now. They got to take advantage, maybe get a little more aggressive offensively.
Please reset the game clock to 11 minutes, 57 seconds.
To the last 15 seconds on the clock as St. Brown was out of bounds. So 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Notre Dame trying to get back to 500. Kaiser shows off that arm strength, firing to Torrey Hunter. It's a gain of 8.
Kaiser's been in this situation before. You Notre Dame fans, I know you might not want to remember it, but if you think back to last year against Clemson, similar conditions, very rainy, he performed pretty well under the circumstances a year ago.
On 2nd and 2, they'll run it, and Dexter Williams does a good job finding the hole and picking up the first down. Well, you mentioned earlier you really like this kid. He's a sophomore, had a 59-yard touchdown run last week against Syracuse.
He's an explosive runner, and he runs mean. I mean, he is a guy that has a lot of energy. Brian Kelly really likes what he's done in the early going of this season. Expect him to get more touches as the year goes on.
Kaiser to the air, looking deep, steps up, takes off, and is driven to the ground by Kentavious Street. Well, Notre Dame started the year 1-3. The last time they were 1-3 was 2010. The Irish finished 8-5 that year. Do you think this is a team that's talented enough on defense to go on a run? They still have Stanford, Miami, Virginia Tech on the schedule.
They have talent, but playing defense is 50% talent, 50% attitude. With Greg Hudson now calling the plays defensively, maybe they'll get that attitude that they so need.
The ball's on the ground there, and it's picked up by a North Carolina State player, and the Wolfpack have it. Jack Tocho has the ball. There was a pile, and then all of a sudden Tocho came out of there with it.
Now this is unusual. The center trying to snap the football. It just rolls right out of his hand. And everybody's trying to dive in on it. It's still loose under the pile at number 98.
Yeah, B.J. Hill actually was the one that came up with it. I wonder if his knee was down when he got it. It's only a couple of yards, but I don't know that I've ever seen that before, where the center can't even snap it back.
I've seen it dribble back a little further than that, but never where it just goes directly sideways.
Hey, Greg, down here from this perspective and being by the ball boys and the ball girls down here, and they've got added extra personnel, it doesn't matter how many towels they have, and it doesn't matter how dry they keep them. The transportation is what's causing the problem.
Back in a moment, 3-0 NC State.
Hubbard with your studio update. Georgia Tech taking on Pitt in their sweet retro unis. Nathan Peterman throws it back to Brian O'Neill, who rumbles 24 yards for the score. The 6'6", 300-pound O-lineman puts the Panthers on the board. It's 7-3 now in the second. Dave, Greg, back to you.
I love that rule, Cassidy. In college football, an offensive lineman can catch the ball as long as he's behind the line of scrimmage, different from the NFL.
I remember Laramie Tunsil, big Laramie Tunsil, in the Sugar Bowl last year. The Ole Miss Rebels scored a touchdown. I'll tell you what, I might move that guy to tight end. That tackle that was picking the knees up.
Boy, look at the football, man. The rain just pounding on it.
Yeah.
Muddy, windy. NC State going into the wind, leading 3-0. And on the jet sweep, it's Hines. And he lost the ball at the 23-yard line. Julian Love jumped in there first for Notre Dame. No signal yet. Notre Dame ball. And it's Love who comes up with it.
Notre Dame's first fumble recovery of the season couldn't have come at a better time. Nyheim Hines trying to spin, get a little bit too much, let the ball get away from his body. And a whole sea of golden helmets jumps in on it, picking up their offense that just gave the football away. Good job by the Notre Dame defense making the play right there.
And the first fumble recovery this season. The Irish in Toledo coming into today were the only teams without a fumble recovery this year in college football. Just their 5th takeaway of the year. And it sets them up on the 22-yard line. This, they had an empty backfield. Now they shift Adams back there with Kaiser. Play clock is at 1. I don't know that they reset the play clock, but apparently they did. Apparently they reset it, and no one knew it for Notre Dame offense, and neither did the coaches.
Guys, you cannot have that happen. You cannot have a delay a game on a change of possession. I know that Deshaun Kaiser right there is trying to get into the right play, but that cannot happen for you when you have a gift of a turnover and you're in the red area right here.
I'm with you, Luke. Pre-snap penalties have hurt both teams now in the early going here.
So 1st and 15 now. Kaiser, and that thing sails on him. Trying to hit Torrey Hunter allegedly there. That ball was about 10 yards over his head. It's 3-0 NC State. It's an important game for both teams. NC State trying to become a contender in the ACC. They can win this game. They got Clemson and Louisville next week. Certainly the next 2 games. If the Wolfpack can get one here today. We're at Carter-Finley Stadium in Raleigh, about 100 miles from the fringes of Hurricane Matthew, and that's why we have the driving rainstorm getting worse as the day goes on. Winds up to 45 miles per hour. A lob into traffic, and it is incomplete. C.J. Sanders, the intended receiver. Normally on those wide receiver screens, you see the quarterback zip it in there. He tried to lob it in traffic.
That's consecutive throws by Deshaun Kaiser that didn't look like he got a great hand on the football. That's way too much air, allowing all the defenders to trace to the outside. And now Notre Dame, in a situation like this, in a very difficult 3rd and 15, have to think they'll probably try to get the ball out of his hands quickly, because a field goal at this length in this weather is very difficult.
Maybe Kaiser just runs the ball. Tries to get 3 more yards, make it a little bit easier. Play clock winding down again. It's going to be a pass play. Kaiser waiting. Now throws. Incomplete inside the 10. He actually had a guy. But unable to hang on to it was Durham Smythe.
I don't know if he was throwing it to Durham Smythe on the over route, or if he was trying to get it. The receiver retracing back, and Notre Dame looks like they're going to keep the offense on the field.
Wow. Why would you do this on 4th and 15? Why not in the last play just run the ball? Give your kicking unit a chance. It'd be a 45-yard field goal, but that's too long today. And now movement by Notre Dame.
Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So let me ask you this. Do you punt? Another flag just came in here.
Dave, they're going to call a personal foul on number 9, Chubb, the defensive end for NC State, for taunting, pointing out the offensive tackle for Notre Dame, Mike McGlinchey, being the person that false started for Notre Dame.
Wow.
2 fouls on the play. False start. Offense. After the play is over. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 9. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Yeah, again, the plays don't offset because one was a dead ball foul. The other was after the play was over. So just a incredibly dumb play by Bradley Chubb.
Right there, there's 9 on the right-hand side. Obviously a dead ball, and he's pointing right in his face. Now, they called unnecessary roughness.
It's unsportsmanlike conduct.
It looks like unsportsmanlike. I'm with you.
It's taunting.
That's questionable. I mean, he's pointing the fact that the left tackle jumped off sides. He's not taunting. That's a bad call, in my opinion.
That's going to give Notre Dame an automatic first down. It'll put the ball inside the 20-yard line again.
Biggest thing is the fresh set of downs.
Greg, I think it was because he was demonstrative. That's why the official threw that flag. Now they're going to run it. Here's Josh Adams, and he gets a yard as Jared Fernandez makes another tackle. Let's watch again here. McGlinchey going with the false start. Okay, he's pointed, but he continues to point, and then he starts to do it with 2 hands. If we had a little bit longer there to show you, so I understand why the flag was thrown. I know you disagree with it, but I get it from the official's perspective. Kaiser off play action. Has an open man inside the 10. Out of bounds goes Torrey Hunter at the 7-yard line. It will be, let's see if they give him the first down. Should be first and goal from there.
Tell you, Greg, if Deshaun Kaiser can control the ball in this weather, NC State's getting no pressure out of their front 4. He's got all day to throw the football back here in the pocket.
The offensive line's been very good in protection so far early on.
Another dead ball foul. Movement by Notre Dame.
Offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The left guard, Quentin Nelson. And you didn't see any NC State players motioning with their hands that it was Nelson there after what happened earlier.
You just can't have mistakes like this. I mean, you're 2-3. You're trying to get back to 500. The defense is holding up their end of the bargain today for the most part. The offense, as you're knocking on the door, you can't lose 5 yards, not in the red zone.
So first and goal now from the 11-yard line. Kaiser to throw. Instead, he gets sacked at the 20-yard line. Bradley Chubb. 3 sacks on the year for the junior captain.
A good pass rush right here. Oh, you can see left tackle McGlinchey trying to fake the run. Didn't get his head up in time. Chubb slips right inside of him. The running back tries to bail him out, but at 275, full speed, not going to be able to slow down that big man. He drops Kaiser for a big sack.
Kaiser on 2nd and goal. Running around in the mud. And throws it away. Greg, are you surprised that Notre Dame is continuing to throw the ball as often as they are in these conditions?
This is the quarter to do it. They have the wind at their back, so if they want to get the passing game going, and that's who they've been. This offense running the football For as good as that offensive line is, they've been inconsistent at the point of attack. They have talented guys, but the running game just isn't clicking on all cylinders, so they know that throwing the football and giving it to Deshaun Kaiser is their best opportunity at this point.
They have run the ball 13 times, thrown it 11, which seems surprising in weather like this. 3rd and goal. Kaiser again to pass to the end zone. It's picked off. Intercepted by Moorhead. So just as we talk about how many times the Irish are throwing the ball, Kaiser gets picked off. It's redshirt freshman Jarius Moorhead with his first pick.
A huge stand for this NC State defense. Irish had 1st and goal at the 5. No points. NC State balling.
So Notre Dame fails on 1st and goal to get points.
Deshaun Kaiser's an amazing quarterback. This is just so tough. The pocket collapses just a little bit. He's going to the correct receiver. Great decision. Ball just slips out of his hands. I mean, there's just nothing you can do as a passer in these circumstances. It's going to happen. Unfortunately for Kaiser and the Notre Dame offense, it ended up in the hands of a guy wearing a red jersey in Jarius Moorhead.
He's filling in right now for Sean Boone, who was suspended for the first half of this game for targeting from last week. North Carolina State runs the ball. Matt Days picks up 2 or 3. Let's take a look pregame at the grips for these guys. What do you see here when you're looking at this, Greg?
You look at Kaiser. He has 2 fingers on the laces, being the pinky and the ring finger. That 3rd finger is almost on the stripe, which on a Wilson football is elevated. Should give you additional tackiness. Ryan Finley, big hands, long fingers. Hasn't had a ton of problems throwing it or gripping it at this point, with the exception of a few bobbled snaps.
Here's the jet sweep. Samuels in trouble in the backfield. Nowhere to go. And pushed out of bounds at the 22 by Tranquil. Was he hit late? Fans thought that he was, but no flag. But again, Greg, I'm just surprised, going back to that last possession by Notre Dame, why they didn't run the ball when you got inside the 20, especially after the penalties when you're backed up. To throw the ball there, 3rd and goal from your 20-yard line.
I'm with you. This Notre Dame offense needs to become more balanced. Their production so far through the first 5 games of the season, 2/3 of their yards were made through the air, 1/3 on the ground. That needs to get closer to 50-50 if they're going to play against good defenses like they're seeing here today.
Now a screen and a great defensive play as Days is wrapped up by Daniel Cage. So a loss on the play. NC State will have to punt. Look how fired up Greg Hudson is there.
Hudson's going wild. That's a good job by Notre Dame, knowing that it's hard to throw the ball down the field. So you wrap up, you get tight, you get aggressive, and Hudson loves it. They say he is a boatload of fun around the facility. And this Notre Dame defense really has played so much better the last few weeks.
That's actually a pretty good punt, given the situation, down to the 38-yard line. 40-yard boot. Our Aflac trivia question: what schools have had the most former quarterbacks start in the NFL this season? Do you have a clue?
I do have a clue.
All right. What do you got?
I know one, because there's 2 guys whose names are on the stadium right below us, and Russell Wilson and Phillip Rivers.
Okay, and who's the 3rd guy then if it's NC State to start this season?
So it has to be 3.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. He was just put on injured reserve yesterday.
Aha! The New England Patriots. Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. We'll answer the other one, because there's 2 teams. NC State does run it here, and diving is Josh Adams out to the 44-yard line for Notre Dame. So a gain of 5 of the play for Adams. 3-0 NC State. Phillip Rivers still getting it done with the San Diego Chargers, and of course Russell Wilson starred here initially, and then it was between him and Mike Glennon. The coaching staff at the time wanted Glennon, so Wilson ends up going to Wisconsin and is now a star in the NFL. Adams planted by Street after a 2-yard run. Third down coming up.
And it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 plus. I mean, this is what you need to be in if you're Notre Dame, because if it's 3rd and 4, you can run it or throw it and still convert. It's the 3rd and 15s, 3rd and 27s that are impossible in these conditions, and they've been in those way too often in the early going.
They're going to go empty here, so we'll see if Kaiser slings it on 3rd down and 4. It's a quick pass, and again you see it. There's just no chance to throw the ball. I mean, this is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football, and he's throwing ducks because of the weather.
There's just nothing you can do. I mean, you have to grin and live to play the next snap. Right there, the ball just doing his best Clayton Kershaw impression on a little sinker. It's hard in these elements. I never had to play in a situation like this, so I can't speak to it personally. But seeing these guys, and as good as they are, seeing them struggle makes you think it's remarkably difficult.
Braylon Cherry is deep. Another good punt by Newsome. And the ball sinks into the ground at the 15-yard line. All right, let's go ahead and answer the Aflac trivia question. We mentioned there were two teams that have had 3 Aflac former quarterbacks from their school start in the NFL. You said NC State. The other, and I knew this one because I watched it on Thursday night, Drew Stanton start for Arizona. Stanton, Kirk Cousins, Brian Hoyer are all starting this year for Michigan State in the NFL.
And I always forget about Michigan State when it comes to the quarterbacks. They've had a lot of good ones over the years. The last 10, 12 years, they've had multiple guys in the National Football League, as has NC State, and of course, Notre Dame the same.
And if something were to happen to Jameis Winston on Monday Night Football, Mike Glennon from NC State is the backup quarterback there. Matt Days does a good job to get positive yardage there. He was hit at the point of attack by Greer Martini.
Greg and Dave, we were talking about the ball and being able to grip the ball, and you made reference to the brand of the ball, Greg. If you have a leather white stripe on the ball that's got a raised stitching, that's going to give you much grip, whether you're a running back or a quarterback, much better grip than the ball that's a painted white stripe that's going to be an awful lot more slick.
Notre Dame has one with that tacky stripe.
Here's Days through a crease at the 30-yard line. All the way to the 44. Matt Days has 8 career 100-yard games. He might get that today. Picks up 28 on this one.
And great job at the point of attack. Big Tony Adams, big Will Richardson, the right guard and right tackle respectively, doing a nice job on the right-hand side, opening up a big hole for Days.
And they go back to Days again. He is grabbed by Jerry Tillery after a minimal gain. Now, Days last year had 5 consecutive 100-yard games before suffering an injury in the 8th game of the season. But he's number 4 all-time in total touchdowns at North Carolina State.
I mean, I think he might be one of the best backs that a lot of people have never heard of. I mean, talent-wise, burst, outstanding vision, patient, catches the ball well, protects. He's done it all for NC State over the course of his career.
Here's Days again on 2nd and 9. And Powers through an arm tackle, muscles his way into Notre Dame territory. Little extracurricular activity in front of the Notre Dame bench, but it does not draw a penalty flag.
Little chippy in there, walking all the way through. That's Thaddeus Moss, son of Randy Moss, who's a talented freshman on this NC State team. Good job by the officials, letting him play, getting him regrouped, not penalizing either team.
Big 3rd and 4 here for North Carolina State. Inside 2 minutes remaining here in the first half. Option. Days. And he is stacked up short of the first down. You would think NC State will go for it here on 4th and inches at the 46-yard line.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
120 on the field. Punt it, take it to half with the lead. This game's about field position. If you are brought up short, then you give Notre Dame possibly a shorter field to try to cash in and make some yards, make some points before the half.
Notre Dame calling a timeout, so that's the second timeout taken. But we've seen Notre Dame, they're trying to throw the ball down the field. So if you're NC State, why not take the chance and get the yard and see if you can drive it down the field and get more points? Because if you get that second field goal, now Notre Dame has to score a touchdown. I don't know if we're going to have any touchdowns in this game.
Well, I still think, look, the way things have gone, knowing that you're going into the wind, take it to half. A 3-point lead feels insurmountable at times in conditions like this. So don't give Notre Dame new life by trying to secure momentum going into the half. NC State's dominated for the most part. They've had a couple of turnovers. And Tom, I know they're thinking about it down there, but I think this is a no-brainer. Without question, I would punt the football and try to pin Notre Dame deep in their own zone.
There's no question they have to punt, and keep in mind who gets the ball coming out of half. NC State does. So take all the danger out of this right now. Get to field position back that you had all first quarter. You lost a little bit here in the second quarter, and just go ahead and get yourself into the locker room. Force Notre Dame to go the long field.
I guess I'm disagreeing with the two quarterbacks, but after the exploits yesterday, maybe you guys should be on my side. More on that a little bit later. Just setting up the crowd to be dazzled by our two quarterbacks in a pass segment. The last time Notre Dame was shut out in the first half was the national championship game against Alabama in 2012. That was against a pretty good team, and obviously you didn't have these conditions. And Kaiser is 6 of 13 passing, 38 yards and an interception.
The offense is out there.
Yeah, and they're going to go with the direct snap here to Days. I like it on 4th and 1, and he gets it. He's to the 39-yard line.
Got to give you credit, Dave. Well done.
It was 50-50.
Tom and I are thinking, no doubt, punt it. Make it a field possession game. You say, hey, be risky. Keep the drive alive.
Have all their timeouts. Days will lose yardage here. It's leveled at the 41 by Tillery.
Hey, Greg, you know what the best part about that play design was? When you think about it, they eliminated part of the mesh point, so they didn't have to deal with the weather, the ball getting to the quarterback, then being handed off to the running back. Just put him in the Wildcat, get the ball right to him. I love that thinking right there in these conditions.
Coming up on the college football halftime report with Stan Verrett, Mark May, and Mac Brown. Another top 25 matchup in the rain just down the road at Chapel Hill. It's North Carolina and Virginia Tech. And also Florida State and Miami playing tonight. We saw Miami, Greg, a couple of weeks ago in a game at Appalachian State that many thought was going to be a tough game for the Hurricanes. They absolutely pummeled the Mountaineers in that game. Florida State still looking for his first ACC win. Who do you like in this game?
I'm leaning Florida State. I look at this team, and obviously under the circumstances, they've been well below the expectation level that a lot of people had for them. They have so much talent, though. And that Derwin James injury in the secondary, the defense has been nowhere near where they need to be. But I think Jimbo Fisher might have their attention. They had the lead late last week, obviously gave up the 54-yarder to North Carolina to lose the game. So I think they're going to come out hungry. And I still am just not 100% sold on what we've seen from Miami to this point because of the level of competition they've played.
2nd and 11. Finley rolling out, throwing complete. Hitting Jalen Samuels, and he gets out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. Kyle Bambard missed a 31-yarder, made a 38-yarder. And obviously in this weather and into the wind, they got to get a lot closer for him.
No rush here if you're NC State. Just thinking, hey, I'm going to play offense. Still got a couple timeouts in my possession. I think they already went for it once on 4th down. If they come up short, got to think they'll probably try it again.
Play clock was winding down. Timeout. This week's college football rankings brought to you by Goodyear, the AP Top 10. We mentioned Miami is number 10. Tennessee and Texas A&M coming up. Is it just the Vols' year after last week, or is Texas A&M the better team?
Texas A&M's very talented, and their quarterback, Trevor Knight, he hasn't been really explosive, especially in the passing game. Missed a lot of opportunities through the air the last few weeks, but he's steady, and he's able to run the football. And Tom, that game between Texas A&M and Tennessee, it could determine an awful lot because of the injuries on Tennessee's side.
Well, there's no question. Tough contest for the Volunteers, and I think it's important that they get off to a fast start so they don't feel like they've got to rely on what's taken place in the previous weeks. But I'll say this about A&M, that team, they have completely revamped their running game, and they can get after you with their defensive front. Two things that they've been lacking over the last 3 to 4 years.
And depending on what happens with that LSU-Florida game, doesn't look like it's going to be played. That could have a big impact on things as well. On 3rd and 5, the pass sails over the head of Cherry. And the offense staying on the field here for 4th down and 5 at the 34 of Notre Dame.
No surprise here. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 1 on Notre Dame's 45 or 46 yard line, you're definitely going to go for it here. Yeah, it's a little longer to gain. There's not nearly enough time, I think, for Notre Dame, given the way their offense is played, to get down into scoring position.
Pressure coming for Notre Dame. Finley's pass is dropped. Thaddeus Moss, a true freshman, couldn't pull it in. Would he have been able to get the first down if he caught it? Hudson fired up as the Irish take over on downs.
Offensive coordinator Eli Drinkwitz had the perfect play call. He's got Thaddeus Moss, who's a big, fast body, going against the defensive end in Trombetti. Hudson, look at the energy he's showing. That's what they need. I think this defense, look, they're young. They lost a lot of quality players over the last few years. They just need to believe. And Greg Hudson's trying to instill that belief in themselves.
Now let's see if the offense for Notre Dame can do anything in 55 seconds. Kaiser's had trouble just throwing the ball 2 yards down the field. That pass broken up at the 38-yard line. It was intended for Torrey Hunter. Clark steps in front. And it's 2nd down.
He's trying to get Deshaun Kaiser into a rhythm. He's had a lot of balls slip through his hands. That one he misses just a little inside. But they're going to need him to pick it up a little bit in the second half. And completing a few passes before halftime can certainly help your confidence.
Run play on 2nd and 10, and Williams is dropped. Arius Moore was in the backfield for NC State, and now it's 3rd down and long. And the Irish do have to run one more play here before the half. About an 8-second difference between the play and game clocks.
Got a timeout. NC State right here.
That's smart. Use your last timeout, and if they don't pick it up, you're going to get the ball back. Who knows? Maybe the punter has trouble with the snap, and you get a turnover. They're going to put time back on the clock, put it at 45 seconds.
And think about Notre Dame. They've had trouble just snapping the football, not once, but twice in this game. One snap went over Deshaun Kaiser's head to the right-hand side. They had another snap by Mustapher that just slipped right out of his hands, resulted in a fumble recovery by B.J. Hill. Force Notre Dame to snap the football. And then you have obviously a chance to maybe see them make a mistake.
Let's take a look at some of these bad snaps that we've had, and also just poor job on the pitch there on the flea flicker attempt. Finley dropping the ball a couple times. That one over the head of Kaiser. And then I don't know what that was. That was a snap by the center to the left guard.
That's a strange one there.
3rd down and 12. And it's a design quarterback run by Kaiser, trying to get outside. He can't. Jones wraps him up. NC State does not have any timeouts. first half. Smart play, use the timeout. Maybe you get a fumble. Maybe somebody runs out of bounds and they have to kick the ball. But Kaiser stayed in play that time, and that'll end the first half. So who knows, a 38-yard knuckleball that just got over the crossbar could be the difference in our game. Tom Luganville will talk with Brian Kelly coming up. It's 3-0 North Carolina State over Notre Dame at halftime. And we'll join the college football halftime report after these messages.
So far, the weather's been the big story in Raleigh. The effects of Hurricane Matthew affecting both teams. Only points of the first half, a Wolfpack field goal. Tom Luganville with Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly.
Well, Coach, this thing went just like you thought it would. You got weather, you got kicking game, and you got field position. How do you remedy those things in the second half?
Well, we got to take care of the football. We had the bad snap, obviously, and then Deshaun lost the grip on an open receiver that he had coming open in the end zone. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You just got to fight through the conditions. They're fighting through the conditions. Defense is playing really well, and now our offense has got to, when we get the opportunity to flip the field position like we did, we got to capitalize and get a score on the board.
We're having some issues snapping the football. I know there was that false ball coming up from the center to Deshaun Kaiser, and there's some confusion on that ball and whether it was snapped or not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we decided that obviously we had some questions relative to whether it was actually a snap.
Okay.
He had lost grip of the ball, and you know, obviously he tried to make a snap, and the correct call was made.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Notre Dame's defense has been a big concern, but their offense not getting much done in the weather there in Raleigh. Welcome in, Stan Verrett, along with Mac Brown and Mark May. Coach, you said that not much fun coaching in conditions like that, right?
It's really not. When you're in weather conditions, you're talking about field position, kicking game, and turnovers. And every time you kick the ball in any manner, it's an experience because you never know what's going to happen. You got to catch it. You got to get it off. You're sliding. And I did think Brian probably wasn't very happy with that call at the end, even though he said, well, I'm not going to talk about that right now. I think he talked about it.
I love the weather conditions. The former offensive line, you
offensive lineman, he doesn't care about
nice
kicking game and passing the ball.
It's the mud. You don't have to worry about it, but you need to prepare for these situations, and neither one of these teams have because they turn the ball over so many times in the first half. But I think for Notre Dame, they've got to start generating offense. Just 48 yards of total offense in the first half. I think Brian Kelly has to seriously consider making a quarterback change to Malik Sayers so they can start running the football, at least at the quarterback position.
Yeah, Deshaun Kaiser was great last year in similar conditions against Clemson in rain. He threw for 321 yards, but not the case so far today. This college football season, don't forget, you can stream every game live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Download the app or visit watchespn.com today. Tuesday at 10 Eastern on ESPN, The Undefeated presents a conversation with the president. It's on sports, race, and achievement. It's a one-hour student forum with President Obama from North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro. You might recognize the host.
Who is it?
It's me.
Oh.
The president will join us for frank discussions about the opportunity gaps faced by boys and young men of color, the role historically black colleges and universities play. It's Tuesday at 10 Eastern on ESPN. Second half coming up here on ABC. Deshaun Kaiser and the Irish trying to get on track in the rain.
Welcome back to ABC College Football, presented by Walmart. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. From Raleigh, North Carolina, there's no time on the clock, meaning halftime is ended, but there are no players or coaches on the field. Until further notice, both teams are being held in the locker room. There was lightning about 15 miles away. So they're holding everybody in the locker room right now. But no official lightning delay as of yet. So we have a few minutes here to discuss. And if you're a quarterback, you have more than 20 minutes to think about what you just went through in the first half. So, Greg, put yourself in the shoes of Ryan Finley or Deshaun Kaiser. What mental, physical adjustments are you going to make?
You almost, to a certain extent, just have to smile it off. I mean, look, this is an impossible situation for both Kaiser and Finley. The winds are howling. Obviously, the rain is making the ball extremely slick. It's so hard to play offense under these circumstances. So if I'm a quarterback, I'm thinking, look, Just got to be smart with the football, secure it on the center quarterback exchanges, and rely heavily on my defense, because that's what's going to be what determines the game.
And if I'm Deshaun Kaiser, I might go to the coach and say, can we hand the ball off when we get in the red zone again? They had an opportunity there late, but threw the football and came up with no points. The last time Notre Dame was shut out, by the way, in a half was 4 years ago. The last time for a game, you got to go 99 games back to 2008. All right, let's take a look at today's rate combination, brought to you by State Farm. When you get a good snap in normal conditions, we don't talk about them, but we're going to give a shout out to Tyler Griffiths. Put it on the money. The holder did a great job, and the kick was good from 38 yards for the only point to the first half. Fans have been told that they can voluntarily leave the stadium, but many going to tough it out, saying, why not? I'm soaked. Might as well just stick it out. 3-0. NC State at the half.
There's a delay in Raleigh at Carter-Finley Stadium because of the weather. We're told it's going to be about 10 minutes before they decide when to allow the players back on the field. It's NC State with a 3-0 lead over Notre Dame right now. Get you out to the second half as soon as we can. Here's a look at the radar. Now, I'm not a weatherman, but I take it that the red and orange and yellow there, not good.
Ain't good, brother.
No. So there's a storm. You can see where Raleigh is. It could also affect the game later on in Chapel Hill today. So certainly the weather, something to keep an eye on. That's a look at weather. Now, sports. But seriously,
weatherman said it's raining.
so now how does this affect how you approach the game? Because you work all week in practice on certain plays, and some of those plays you just can't run them.
Well, number one, they knew it was going to be bad weather, so they probably changed their game plan about midway through the week. Secondly, we were playing OU, Mark, in '84. And it was in the Cotton Bowl's Red River rivalry, and we're sitting there, and we ran sideways the whole first half, and it was an absolute rainstorm. The field wasn't very good, even though it was turf. This is grass, which is tougher. But Gary Gibbs and I sat down at halftime and said, this is stupid. We can't stand up running sideways. Run north and south.
Okay.
Get what you can get, protect the ball, play field position, and try to win 3-0, 6-3, something like that. So I'm sure the coaches inside are redoing their game plans right now and saying, this is ridiculous. We can't do it. Forward pass needs to be so wide open it's like a shot put. You got to throw it up, and he's got to have time to get through the weather and then catch it and tuck it away and hold it and run with both arms on it. It's not normal. And what it does, it equalizes the game for the lesser team. It is an equalizer more than anything else.
And the other thing is, I think the advantage goes to the home team in this situation, and this is the reason why. Because you're at your home facility, you've got your own equipment manager and all your equipment at your disposal. So if players want to change socks, if they want to change pants, if they want to change shoes, they've got the ability to do that. When you're the away team, you have a limited amount of equipment that you can bring to the stadium when you're traveling like that. So I think it's an advantage for North Carolina State because they can go to the locker room, they can change everything. They can go in there, they can put up on the blackboards and stuff like that. This is what we're going to do, guys. This is how we're going to change. All you guys out there that if your pants are wet, your socks are wet, if you want to change them where you can feel clean, when you go out on the field again, you feel a little bit lighter. You've got the ability to do that.
And Notre Dame, all you have is what you brought. Right?
That's right, and it's usually a bad dressing room for the visitors.
A smaller one.
But even at NC State right now, they've got a 10-minute delay for sure. They're in their indoor area stretching and throwing, and Notre Dame's in a little bitty hole in the corner that's hot and humid and sweaty.
Guys are riding the bike, staying warm, stuff like that. You can get treatment also. It's a bigger area to get treatment. A lot more comfortable. You're a lot more comfortable in that situation if you're the home team.
Great point.
Footing and leverage, so much a part of line play for the offensive and defensive linemen. How does the weather affect that?
Well, you've got to change your spikes. You've got to make sure you've got longer cleats on in situations like that so you can grasp it, especially when it's natural grass because it's deeper and it's wetter than artificial turf. So if you've got the ability to do that, sometimes you have long molded cleats you can change to. Other times you've got longer cleats that you can just change to a longer cleat that gives you better traction in that situation. But I think in the situation here, for the line, it's not as difficult as it is for the skill position, wide receiver, quarterback, and kicker. That's why those guys are the only ones that are always whining about bad weather because they can't get great traction or it's hard to throw the football. You never hear interior linemen complain about bad weather.
No, they still get
whining in there.
No, well, they still get to eat either way. So that's the important thing. In fact, they're happy with the delay. Do we have some snacks?
Absolutely.
We get some
7 or 8 oranges. 7 or 8 oranges for the
peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly now. And I'll play better.
So now they've made the decision. It's going to be a full 30-minute delay there at Carter-Finley in Raleigh. So we're going to be here for a minute. We're in a weather delay in Raleigh. North Carolina State up 3-0 on Notre Dame right now. The weather from Hurricane Matthew, remnants of the storm affecting things there. Not a lot of offense, especially for Notre Dame in this game, and it's the Wolfpack on top, 3-0. All right, so Notre Dame almost historic lows in terms of offense in the first half. Deshaun Kaiser, we know he can get the job done if he gets the chance. But I mean, how much of this is conditions, and how much of this is just not Notre Dame not executing?
I think it's all conditions, and you have to execute under the conditions because the other team's got the same type conditions you do. And the biggest thing is that this is where stats get skewed because neither team's going to have good stats today.
Right.
And now modern day offenses are running up and down the field. We got great stats. This is a defensive day. It's a kicking game day. And you don't care about anything except winning it by 1 point. So if Notre Dame could figure out how to get 4 points, 2 safeties, they would go home happy and say, hey, check that one off to weather. Let's go. Don't worry about the film as much. You tried. You figured out a way to win, and that's what you have to do today. Let's go home and get ready for the next game.
And there should be no excuses about the weather. Both teams have to play in it, so let's just get that off the table right now. If you're in Notre Dame, Malik Zaire may be your answer in the second half because I think he's a better runner than Deshaun Kaiser at the quarterback position. I think that's got to be taken in consideration by Brian Kelly in this offense because 48 yards of total offense in the first half is an all-time low for a Brian Kelly football team at Notre Dame. So they've got to find some answers in this, and don't make the weather an excuse.
Our game at halftime, it looks like they're about ready to start the third quarter, so let's send it back out to Raleigh for the second half. NC State and Notre Dame.
All right, Stan, welcome back to ABC College Football presented by Walmart. 3-0 North Carolina State in front of Notre Dame. It has been pouring rain since early this morning, getting worse as the day goes along. Winds that started out at about 15 miles per hour. Some man on the street interviews during our 35-minute weather delay. Up to 45 miles an hour, perhaps, as the storm generated by Hurricane Matthew, which is about 100 miles from here, where that hurricane cone is. And the weather still going through here, expected throughout the day and night. Let's check in with Tom Luganville down on the field.
Well, guys, it just wouldn't be fitting if we didn't come on air and have the hardest rain of the day coming down right now. If you take a look down here at the field, with every step that these guys are taking, this is what they're getting into. So when that ball security becomes such a premium, it's not just people swiping at it, things of that nature. It's how the ground now affects your ability to hold on to the football. I talked to Dave Doran, head coach at NC State. He said quite bluntly, if we don't turn the ball over, we win the game.
And more on that in just a moment. In terms of the turnovers, 3-0 Notre Dame on a 38-yard field goal. And NC State rather with a lead on that short field goal. Here's Hines on the return for the Wolfpack. Dragged down at the 33, slides 3 more yards. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Tom alluded to the turnovers, a fumble lost by both teams. This is the first fumble recovery for Notre Dame this year. Happened in the second quarter. Then on an awkward snap that ended up at the feet of the left guard, the Irish recover. And then Notre Dame on 3rd and goal, Kaiser throwing to the end zone. You could see there how that ball wobbled, that it was an easy pick for Jarius Moorhead. Notre Dame had 48 yards on 31 plays. State had 122 yards with 95 on the ground. And Matt Days brought down at the line of scrimmage. He had 84 yards rushing in that first half, but stopped there for nothing by Niles Morgan.
If that first play is any indicator, I think it's going to be ground and pound for both of these teams in the second half. Very difficult, almost impossible to throw the ball consistently and accurately in conditions like these. It's going to be important for the running backs to try to take over this game.
Reggie Gillespie is in now, spelling Matt Days here on 2nd and 10. Gillespie keeps the feet moving and able to dive for a couple of yards. Bring up 3rd down and long. And it will be interesting to see how these teams handle third and long if they can't run on first and second down, if they take a risk in throwing the football, and that's really the appropriate word right now when you throw the ball.
That's exactly what it is. It's a high-risk opportunity. This defense for Notre Dame, they're playing aggressive in the secondary. They know that downfield throws are very unlikely to be accurate in a situation like this. So think on third down, especially in throwing situations, screens and draws, throws behind the line of scrimmage.
And Finley will take off here and dives to the 40-yard line. Notre Dame was all over that, so a 3-and-out for NC State.
Tell you what, Greg, that's okay, because now you're going to punt the football, and if you get any semblance of a punt here, you're in great shape of field position, and that's how NC State owned the first half, was by winning field position.
A.J. Cole will punt it. Chris Fink and C.J. Sanders are deep. Tyler Griffiths, the long snapper. Ooh, and it was close to the punter's knee being down, and it was. The punter's knee was down, so Notre Dame will take over at the 25-yard line. Again, we told you at the start of the telecast we would mention long snappers more today than in any other game all year. And Griffith's snap was a little bit offline. Cole's knee is down clearly there.
It's a great call by the official. The wind pushed it just a little to the right. Punter had to go down. Great field position for the Irish.
Celebrating its 12th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. And if you have good hands today, that may go a long way to win this game. Or good feet, too. It's slippery. We've seen guys fall, drop passes. The punter had to go down because of a bad snap, took a knee, so Notre Dame takes over on the 25, and it's Kaiser running it. And he gets to the 22-yard line. So a pickup of 3 on the play. It'll bring up second down. Now, on a normal day, the target range for Justin Yoon is about 52. So that's why we've got that in there, just to give you an idea that on a normal day, that's about his range. He's got to get a little bit closer today. Probably more near that yellow line is within his range today, given the weather. Josh Adams on the call picks up a couple. Although in talking to Brian Kelly the other day, there appears to be a flag down. No, it's just a towel. But he was saying he's not afraid to put Yoon out there to try a 50-yarder, but that's before he got here and saw how bad the weather was.
And it's not even about the kicker as much as it is about the snapper and the holder, the entire operation trying to get the ball down and attempt to kick. Very, very tough, obviously, under these circumstances.
Greg, we saw him throw the ball out in this situation of the first half. Let's see if they run and just get some yards to set up a field goal. Nope. Kaiser to the air on 3rd and 6. In trouble. And down he goes for a sack. So they lose a couple yards. It'd be a 40-yard field goal from here. Bradley Chubb makes the play. So Notre Dame looking to tie the game here. So it'll be a 40-yard try for Justin Yoon. Scott Daly is the long snapper. Montgomery Van Gorder is the holder. The snap is good. So's the hold. And the kick just creeps over the crossbar to tie the game. Go ahead and celebrate, young man. That's pretty good from 40 yards in this stuff.
Pretty good. Season long. In this, that's about as good as it gets for me. What a kick by the field goal kicker, Notre Dame Yoon.
Football, presented by Walmart. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
So after a 35-minute weather delay, we're tied after a Notre Dame field goal. Here are the home games affected by hurricanes for North Carolina State since 2000. And look, they scored a lot of points in 3 of those 4 games. Hurricane Matthew, on the fringe of it anyway, about 100 miles from here, and the rain and wind getting worse. Squib kick, and that ball scooped up on the 15-yard line. Samuels taken down short of the 20. Let's check in with Lou.
Guys, as you can see, these weather conditions are as bad as they have been. We have driving gusts of wind coming at you sideways into the eyes of Ryan Finley, the quarterback at NC State, as he's approaching the line of scrimmage. We saw that end play right there, just landing. This is to the point where keeping your footing is as critical as just holding onto the football, trying to execute a game plan. And Greg, Dave, this isn't about talent. This isn't about scheme. This is about who can execute, holding onto the football, run the ball, and get first downs.
All about execution and focus in a situation like this. So difficult to be efficient.
Finley had a little trouble with that snap, and the pass incomplete, a diving attempt. I'm a little surprised they actually played this game, knowing that it could have been moved. There have been other games that have been moved. You knew what you were getting into early in the week. Are you surprised, Greg? And do you agree with the decision to play the game?
Look, I have to agree with it. I'm a player. You know, I was always told, look, you're playing, and I was going to go out there and play. I don't disagree with it. I know the ACC and the decision makers vetted every possible scenario, and they wouldn't put these kids in harm's way.
Matt Day's hit at the point of attack and fumble the ball. Notre Dame appears to have it. Onwalu jumps on it, and it's another fumble recovery for the Irish.
Dave Dorn said if we hang on to the football, we got a real chance to win the game. His very talented running back, sure-handed running back, Days right there, getting stood up at the point of attack, trying to reach for extra yards, and the ball just slipping right out of his grasp. Critical mistake there by this NC State offense, but credit to Notre Dame. They're ripping at that football all the way to the ground, and that's exactly what they should do, because as a ball carrier, it is so tough to hold on to a football that's as wet as these.
So Notre Dame came into this game through 5 regular season games with no fumble recoveries. The Irish have 2 in this game now. And they start inside the 25-yard line. Kaiser to throw. Instead, he gets walloped and sacked back at the 25. Kentavious Street, most improved player on this NC State defense, was back there. Justin Jones got some push as well.
This is a good offensive line for Notre Dame, but that was just better coverage by the NC State defense. There was nobody open. That's a coverage sack. You see Deshaun Kaiser looking downfield, trying to identify an open receiver, and there's no one there. Eventually that rush is going to get home. He needs to allow the shot clock to go off in his head, and when nothing's there, go north and south and try to get something with the legs.
Another pass play for Kaiser, and trying to set up the screen. And again, you see every time Kaiser throws the ball, unless he saw nothing there and he was just grounding it, the ball comes out of his hand awkwardly.
That right there, he was just grounding it. NC State, another good job dialing up that screen. It's tough, and trying to be accurate with the wind and the gusts that are constantly changing. You understand why they're doing what they're doing offensively, trying to run it, trying to get one on first down, throw the ball down the field. You look at Deshaun Kaiser, guys, this is the guy that has a real chance to be the first overall pick in the NFL draft next year. That's how good he is, and he's struggling. So it's hard for just about everybody, obviously.
There's been a grand total of 2 third-down conversions between these two teams. As that pass sails incomplete, intended for Torrey Hunter, it'll be another field goal try of 40 or 42 yards here. Although the offense is still on the field for Notre Dame. They just made one from the exact same distance and it's 4th and 12. Why are you going for it here?
That's surprising. I mean, it's 1 yard further back. This would have been a 41-yard attempt. He just made a 40. I don't understand what the thought process is.
And it's not 4th and 4. It's 4th and 12. And you haven't completed a pass in a month. Kaiser zips it. Knocked away. Incomplete. North Carolina State takes over on downs. Tocho with the pass breakup. So we remain tied at 3 apiece here in the rain and wind. As Tocho knocks that one away from St. Brown, the Wolfpack take over when we return. Take a look at today's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate. Normally, when broadcasters mention long snappers and holders, it's for a bad reason, but not for today. Great job by the NC State group there on the made field goal in the first half, and then Notre Dame here to start the second half. Perfect snap, excellent hold, and Yoon boots it through from 40 yards to tie the game at 3. Brian Kelly, though, electing to go for it on 4th and 12 when it would have been a 41 or 42-yard attempt. They don't get it, and so NC State takes over on its 24-yard line. Matt Days closing in on another 100-yard rushing game. Gets the carry here on first down. Stacked up after a gain of 3 or 4. Unwalu leading the charge. Dalen Hayes in there as well for Notre Dame.
You look at this defense. They are not respecting the pass at all. I mean, as soon as the ball's snapped, both safeties are running straight into it. And now at quarterback, you have a run threat in Jalen McClendon.
McClendon has rushed for 2 touchdowns this year. He takes off on 2nd and 7, has the first down and more. Makes it to the 47 before Tranquil brings him down. That's 20 yards for Jalen McClendon.
Great decision by Eli Drinkwitz, the offensive coordinator, saying, look, we can't throw it. Not going this direction, not under these circumstances. Let's try to get something out of the quarterback position by doing some quarterback run game type techniques.
McClendon again finds a hole into Notre Dame territory. And look at him push the pile. Think about it. They have run the ball 24 times and thrown it 10. Notre Dame, it's almost even. 19 run plays and 17 pass plays.
You have a look at Eli Drinkwitz there. Disciple of Gus Malzahn wears the visor. Said, I'm not going to be fazed by the elements. Made a good decision right there to change up his quarterback rotation.
And Finley back in here at quarterback for 2nd down and 4. It's Days. And he's wrapped up after a short game. It's interesting in our conversation with Coach Drinkwitz yesterday. He talks about not only does he study film, he studies press conferences. He reads the clips. He watches coaches' press conferences. In fact, he harkened back to when he was at Auburn in 2010 getting ready to play you guys. A Nick Saban video about how to stop the Wildcat. He said he listened to that over and over again and then changed his game prep.
As much information as you can possibly get, I suppose, right? McClendon back in the game here at quarterback.
On 3rd down and 3, and he stretches out and will be close to a first down at the 43.
Greg, I don't know about you, but I'm a little surprised this hasn't been the approach that Notre Dame has taken on offense.
With Malik Zaire, you mean, Luke?
Yeah, just trying, get +1 in the box where you can outblock the numbers that they have to tackle you inside there and use the quarterback in the run game. And that's really been the difference here with the run game for NC State here in the second half by switching it up a little bit.
And I heard Mark May at halftime mention that he would go to Zaire simply for that, for the quarterback run game. They're a little short, 4th down. What do you think?
I think it's you run the exact same play. Right now, you had a long run by McClendon. Then you had a first down run that followed that. That was a 6-yard gain. Right there, he gained 3 or 4 yards or close to it. Came up just short. Notre Dame hasn't had an answer so far for what Jalen McClendon's doing in the run game. Quarterback dive. Not one that I heard called when I was in the game very often.
Yeah, when Drinkwitz said that he was studying, he didn't pay attention to coach's quotes on you running the football.
As he should. Wasn't much of a threat in that regard.
McClendon trying to find a hole and looked like he got it. Forward progress. Let's see though, the line judge walking back towards the line of scrimmage, and they actually mark him just a little bit past the line of scrimmage, right shy of the first down. But watch the initial surge. It seemed like he got past the marker.
Well, you see him. He's walking, and then he tries to sidestep real quick. Look, Jalen McClendon, 6'5", 215 pounds. If he puts that foot in the ground and goes north and south and runs into the back of his lineman, his momentum would carry.
Wow, it's close. He's got to stretch it out, and he did get the first down. Just enough to move the chains.
Every inch in a game like this is huge. It's old school football. It ain't pretty, but it looks good. Finley back in the game now at quarterback for the Pack.
From the 43-yard line, midway through the third quarter, Finley to throw. And that one thrown out of bounds. Intended for Jalen Samuels.
Hey, Greg, that was one of those throws standing directly behind Ryan Finley right here that the wind took to the sideline. He had Samuels, and that ball just kept floating further to the right after it left his hand just because of the driving northwest direction of this wind.
And you could tell Samuels was thinking it's going to go right in his grasp, and he had to adjust to it late, so the ball did get pushed, like you said, Ludes, towards the boundary.
So McClendon in the game to run the ball. He's past the 40-yard line, has the first down inside the 30. So the adjustment by NC State at halftime to put McClendon in the game to run the football has paid off. That's 15 yards. McClendon and Finley were battling in the spring for the right to replace Jacoby Brissett as the starting quarterback. Finley wins the job. McClendon has come in situations. And he's got more of the snaps at quarterback here in the third quarter than Finley for obvious reasons. Going to throw it here to Days out of the backfield inside the 20. Lowers the shoulder and powers past the first down marker.
Nice, easy completion for Jalen McClendon right there. He was running it north and south. They decide to stretch the defense horizontally, get it to Days on a little swing route. Well executed, and another fresh set of downs as NC State has entered the red zone.
10th play of the drive coming up for the Wolfpack, trying to get their 4th win in 5 games this season. McClendon able to stretch forward and pick up 5 or 6. Jerry Tillery brings him down. NC State goes to Clemson next week, then at Louisville. It would be huge for the Wolfpack if they could get this one against Notre Dame here today.
This is a good football team, NC State. They're good on both sides of the football. They're good at the line of scrimmage on offense and defense. Their quarterback's been playing great. Now they're relying on the quarterback that got beat out to try to get to pay dirt here in the end zone.
McClendon with 48 rushing yards on 6 attempts this drive. He got 4 on first down. Gonna hand it off to Days here inside the 10. Close to a first down at the 6-yard line. Best drive by either team today, as the other points came in quick change, short yardage situation.
I'm a little surprised that we don't see a little tempo from NC State right here. Notre Dame, they've been on the field an awful lot. Long drive, obviously, here. Surprised you're not seeing NC State try to increase that tempo just a little bit, because these Notre Dame players are probably a little worn out as NC State approaches the end zone.
They stop play.
Ruling on the field is a first down. Play is under further review.
So what's happening is because when the player hits the ground, he's sliding 3 yards. They're having trouble spotting it properly, so they're going to look here to see if he indeed picked up the first down. You mentioned you're surprised they're not going more up tempo. Do you think it's because they want the clock to run, thinking that if they score in this possession, that could be the winning score?
Sure, no doubt. I mean, and you also don't want to have any negative plays. It looks like as Days hits the ground, that left knee does in fact touch.
Yeah, there. Yep.
About a yard short of the line to gain. But every play, you can't waste them in a game like this. Every play has to matter. You can't have negative plays. Sometimes you're willing to take that risk in the tempo offense. You're willing to say, hey, you know what? It might not be perfect, but we'll figure out a way. Call and ball is the technique that people have usually used. In this situation, obviously, in weather like this, every play has to have a purpose. So it's very important for them to make sure they have the perfect play called.
Not to mention, too, Dave, Greg, if you're going to go tempo, you're going to speed things up in these types of conditions. You can get sloppy, and the ball can go on the ground. So slow it down, focus on the things you can control, and try and make sure that ball security is paramount to anything above scheme and everything else.
And we've had a total of 3 lost fumbles in this game. 2 by North Carolina State, 1 by Notre Dame.
A little earlier, I mean, Notre Dame had 1st and goal at the 6, and they didn't even score a point, so it's tough to gain them here.
Review. The ball replaced at the 6.5. It'll be 3rd down. The clock will start on my signal.
So he was short. As Greg said, that knee was down and the ball was short of the line to gain, so it's 3rd and a half yard. And that Notre Dame defense, which has struggled all season, can it come up with a big play here to force a field goal? Because any field goal is going to be an adventure today, no matter how short. McClendon is in at quarterback with Days in the backfield. And it's McClendon getting the first down. Makes it to the 3-yard line. Well, you saw how fired up that left guard Garrett Bradbury was, blowing Notre Dame off the line of scrimmage. Here's the up-tempo now. McClendon keeping again. Cut down in the backfield for a loss of 2. True freshman Devin Studstill makes the play.
Went to the well one more time, ran the exact same call. Studstill said, no, sir. You got us once, you're not going to get us again. And Finley now comes into the game in this quarterback roulette as the Wolfpack trying to generate some points.
Do you keep it on the ground here, though, this situation?
Absolutely. Matt Days is your best offensive player. Give it to him.
Little option here. Finley keeping, diving. And he'll be down at about the 2. That's where he initially made contact with the ground. So 3rd and goal. Closing in on 3 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Play number 15 on this drive coming up.
Got to keep it on the ground. 3rd and 2.
Matthew Days is not in the game, guys.
Yeah, Gillespie just came in, Tom, to replace him at running back.
Gillespie's their big body back, so not surprised to see him on the field here, obviously in a goal line situation.
And the pitch goes back to the 17-yard line where it's covered up by Finley. Boy, he fired that pitch back there as if he thought Gillespie was going to stand there and wait for it.
Wow. Gillespie's thinking handoff. Finley's thinking pitch. Just can't have a mistake like that. Not as you're that close.
So now it's a 35-yard field goal try. Bombard missed a 31-yarder, made a 38-yarder. This to give NC State the lead. And the snap is high, and they can't get it down, and Bombard is tackled. Notre Dame takes over on downs. Well, you made the point that Notre Dame earlier in the game got to 1st and goal, didn't get any points. The same thing happens to NC State here because of mental errors. Wow. Well, that was a physical error, but the other stuff was mental errors.
High snap. Difficult situation for the holder. Bombard says, I can't do it. He grabs it, tries to do something with it, but it all goes back to the snap operations. You rep it 100 times a day if you're a long snapper and a holder and a field goal kicker. But nothing can prepare you for elements like this. Just an unfortunate circumstance if you're a fan of the NC State Wolfpack.
So Notre Dame will take over on downs at the 25-yard line. Deshaun Kaiser so far throwing the football to 6 of 17 for 38 yards and a pick. He'll keep it here and get dropped by Bradley Chubb.
Just a zone read concept. Bradley Chubb did exactly what you're supposed to do. Run right at the mesh between the quarterback and the running back and make it impossible for him to get a read on what the defensive end is doing and makes a tackle for a loss.
So Notre Dame in the negative now in total offense yards here in the 3rd quarter. They lose 2 there. 2nd and 12. Kaiser gonna fire it deep. Almost pulled in. Intended for Torrey Hunter. Jack Tocho in coverage. The Irish take a shot. Good defense.
Great defense. Tocho knows that he's going to be on an island because those safeties are not as worried about the effectiveness of the deep ball. So really well thrown by Kaiser. Just better coverage and a good defensive play by Tocho, the Pack's best corner.
28th consecutive start for the captain, a graduate student from Charlotte. Now 3rd and 12. Will they let Kaiser sling it down the field again? You would assume so. In trouble, though, in the backfield. Gets rid of it at the last second to avoid the sack. His arm was going forward. It's an incompletion. Arius Moore was there for the Wolfpack.
Absolutely nothing Deshaun Kaiser can do. Blitz right up the middle. The left guard, Quentin Nelson's not able to get home. And a good job by Kaiser, just trying to get it out in the vicinity of the receiver Sanders crossing the field.
So Tyler Newsome will punt. Scott Daly, the long snapper. A perfect snap that time. And a pretty good punt by Newsome. That's about as good as you could ask for. 45-yard punt. And again, we give love to the long snapper, Scott Daly. Great job. Tonight after Washington State and Stanford, catch SportsCenter at night with Bucci and Anderson. Highlights from all of the college football games today. A look ahead to the NFL games tomorrow. The NL Division Series. NBA preseason. A UFC 204 update. As McClendon's back out there for North Carolina State and fumbles it. It's recovered, though, by Naheem Hines at the 32-yard line. It's a 2-yard loss.
Just careless with the football, but a great play defensively by Devin Studstill. Goes in, puts that right elbow right on the football, flies backwards, and look, this is not the first time we've seen the ball on the ground today. It's tough sledding for these offenses.
North Carolina State does not have to snap it, and wisely won't. The 3rd quarter comes to an end. Only 44 yards of offense for North Carolina State in the 3rd quarter and -3 for Notre Dame. But the Irish were the only ones to score in the 3rd quarter. And we're tied at 3 after 3 in Raleigh. Rain, wind, mud, we've got it all. Everything except points here in Raleigh. We'll return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Fourth quarter in Raleigh. Time for our Pacific Life game summary. A 35-minute weather delay at halftime for concern of the players and the fans. There was some lightning in the area. And 2 turnovers by North Carolina State after just 3 in the first 4 games. Notre Dame averaging a yard per play. They came in averaging 7 yards per play. Good for 14th in the country. But obviously in a game like this with the conditions, you know you're going to have bad stats, turnovers, and no touchdowns so far. NC State with a 2nd and 12 on its 32-yard line. They'll keep it on the ground with Matt Days. And good job up front by the Irish. No gain on the play. Jay Hayes was there for Notre Dame.
Just trying to think about this game from the perspective of a quarterback. I just don't know what you would do. I've never obviously played in a situation like this. These guys are hanging in there. This is all about the offensive lines, the trenches, and the run games for both teams.
And who will make the next mistake, really, is what it may come down to as to who wins this game. On 3rd and 12, it's going to be a pass play, and that one is off target, intended for Cherry. So other than a dump-off pass by Jalen McClendon, we're trying to remember the last time we had a completion downfield. Only a total of 12 completions between the 2 teams. A.J. Cole ready to punt. The pressure on the long snapper, Tyler Griffiths. Remember, the last one was a little wide, and Cole had to take a knee. This one was off target as well, but Cole gets it away. And it works out pretty well. Dies at the 28-yard line. Good job by Cole to pull that one in and get rid of it. A great rivalry is renewed tonight in Miami. It's the Canes, ranked 10th in the country, taking on Florida State. Seminoles trying to avoid an 0-3 start in conference play. It's at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. In this game, we have 8 punts and 6 points. And Notre Dame running backs have carried the ball only 13 times in this game, despite this weather. First down for the Irish on their 29-yard line. And having trouble with the snap is Kaiser, and he goes down, a loss of 4 on the play.
That's the 3rd bad snap that we've seen by Sam Mustipher, the center for Notre Dame. That one's just high and hot. It's fortunate that that didn't go right over Deshaun Kaiser's head. I know it's hard in these elements, but you have to do the little things and focus on the things that you might take for granted.
A rollout for Kaiser on 2nd and 14, and here comes Chubb. Kaiser gets out of there, but then gets pushed back by B.J. Hill. How come they haven't, I know they're at 2nd and 14, I get it, but how come we haven't seen more handoffs to running backs? Again, only 13 carries for Notre Dame tailbacks in this game.
I don't understand it for the life of me. I mean, I'm looking at Notre Dame, and I know their best player is Deshaun Kaiser. He's electric throwing the football. But it can't be done in these elements. You have 2 NFL offensive linemen on the left side, in McGlinchey and Nelson. I don't understand why they're not trying to run the football.
And now you're in 3rd and 14. NC State's going to back off here. Rush 5. Kaiser going to fire, and it's incomplete. Tried to hit St. Brown, so it's 4th down, and here comes the punt team.
You know, Greg, you were talking about, you know, the lack of attempts to run the football. And, Dave, you referenced it. Well, I know it's 2nd and 14. Well, that's the problem. There's no attempted rushes on 1st and 2nd down to get yourself into a manageable 3rd down situation, whether it's with the running backs or utilizing the quarterbacks to run the football. They have not done that well on early downs, and it cost them big time. They are now 1 of 12 on 3rd down.
Excellent snap. And the punt is blocked. It's picked up at the 15-yard line. NC State's going to get a touchdown. The Wolfpack take the lead, and that's how they get the first touchdown of the game. Dexter Wright with the recovery. was not easy for Dexter Wright to be able to pick that ball off the ground, scoop and score. And a big extra point, obviously, here to try to make it a 7-point game. And Bambard puts it through to make it 10-3 Wolfpack.
When your offense is struggling, lean on the defense and special teams. Pharaoh McKeever getting the block, turning it in for a big touchdown, and the Pack leads 7 late in the fourth.
Football presented by Walmart. This Halloween, save on candy, costumes, and more at Walmart. And in part by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
Dexter Wright, a sophomore from Wilson, North Carolina, scoops up the blocked punt by Pharaoh McKeever, takes it in for a touchdown, our first touchdown of the game. And the snap was good. There was no issue with the snap there, just poor protection that allowed McKeever to get a hand up and block that punt. Maples will kick off for NC State. And the ball falls off the tee.
You know, guys, I'm really surprised by that.
What, the ball falling off the tee?
I gotta be honest.
Surprised you haven't fallen over. I mean, look at that wind.
Glad you guys are paying attention to my jokes up there.
It's taken at the 13-yard line by Fink. Past the 35. He lost the ball, but it was fumbled out of bounds. So Notre Dame will actually have decent field position on the 39. Special teams have been up and down for everybody today. There was the high snap on the field goal attempt that never happened. Bambard did well just to hold on to the ball that time. And then maybe the punter took a little bit too long to get it to his foot. What do you think there, Greg? Was that just a great play by McKeever?
A little long, but he had to secure the catch. So that's to be expected. I mean, NC State wasn't rushing anybody. It wasn't a punt block. They were just trying to corral it. McKeever, mindful, put his hand up in the air and got a piece of it, knocked it down, and it went the other way for a touchdown. Just a great individual effort by Pharaoh McKeever.
First time in 6 years they've had a block punt return for a touchdown. Adams with the carry, and that's a good run of 6 or 7 as we go to the studio and check in with Cassidy.
Thanks, Dave. We got a close one between Georgia Tech and Pitt. J.J. Green with the 10-yard run puts the Yellow Jackets up 34-27 with about 5 to play in the fourth. And TCU just kicked a field goal. They're up 24-23 over the Jayhawks,
and
guys.
the fact that Jayhawks are leading TCU, wow, 2nd and 4 for Notre Dame at its 45-yard line. The Irish trying to avoid a 2-4 start. Kaiser on the design run, fumble the ball. NC State pointing as if they've got it. And they do.
Wow. Deshaun Kaiser gets a little seam, not much of one. Almost avoids the first one, and then you see Fernandez coming in and knocking that ball out.
And B.J. Hill with the recovery.
What a play by this NC State defense. Special teams picked him up a second ago, cashed it in for a touchdown. And now the defense forcing what appears to be a fumble. They're going to take another look at it. Looks like that ball is moving long before Deshaun Kaiser's backside hits the ground.
And B.J. Hill getting his second fumble recovery of the game. Let's see again here if the ball is out before any part of his body other than the foot or hand touches the ground. And you can't tell from that angle. To be the second lost fumble by Notre Dame in the game.
Coming into this game, I mean, Notre Dame, they've been struggling a little bit with turnovers, and it looks like they have another one here.
So the ruling on the field is confirmed. That other angle showed you that he was still off the ground when the ball was punched out. So NC State takes over on its 49-yard line, leading by 7.
If I'm NC State right here, I don't even think about throwing it. I would run it and run it again and run it again. I would not risk putting my defense back out there in a disadvantage, well, excuse me, goodness, in a disappointing situation if they were to turn it over.
And when you say run the ball, you mean handoffs, not pitches,
handoffs,
right?
all the way. Handoffs every single time.
Because we saw a fumble on 3rd and goal on a pitch attempt. And it will just be a handoff here. Days. And he gets maybe a yard. Tackled by Isaac Rochelle.
And that's what it's going to be. I mean, look, it's all about the offensive line. In an environment like this, weather like this, your best ball carrier, your best player offensively is Days, the running back. He should touch it every single time.
Days averages 109 yards on the ground per game. He's got 98 today, seeking his 9th career 100-yard game. And Days bounces off of a tackler, gets to the 45. He's going to bring up 3rd down and 4. He's over 100 yards now. Greg, in these situations, we're seeing all pistol formations for Finley. Is that easier than just being under center as a quarterback when the ball's this wet?
What it does is it allows Days to get a little bit more momentum towards the line of scrimmage. Shotgun under center, it's equally difficult. But putting him in the pistol as opposed to beside the quarterback in the shotgun set does give him more forward momentum as he reaches the line of scrimmage.
McClendon going to throw it to Days out in the flat. Makes a cutback move and is short of the 1st down. Coney on the tackle, bringing up 4th and 1. If you're NC State, you go for it here, don't you? Or do you punt it with a 7-point lead?
It's like they're thinking about it. The punt team was ready to run onto the football field.
I kind of like going for it here, Mac.
Because it's tough to handle a snap, make sure you get the snap kicked. So I understand if they were to go for it, but looks like they're going to play the field position game because their defense has been playing very well these last couple drives.
The last 2 long snaps by Tyler Griffiths have been off the mark. And A.J. Cole did a good job to make sure there wasn't a fumble on either of them. Excellent punt, but this time it doesn't die. It bounces into the end zone. So 42-yard punt, but a net of 22. And Notre Dame down 7 will get the ball back. Well, Notre Dame had 2 lost fumbles in their losses to Michigan State and Duke, and turnovers a problem here today. The bad snap, and then Kaiser's pass because of the weather underthrown and picked off, and then Kaiser fumbling it here, taking the shot, and B.J. Hill with a recovery. Notre Dame, though, gets it back after an NC State punt. They have 5 yards of total offense, and Kaiser is 0 for 6 passing in the half. Finally, a completion downfield to St. Brown. That's the longest pass play since the first half for either team.
And as you're on the sideline for this Notre Dame team, you're telling your offense, look, we're 1 score back. All we need is 1 drive here. It might feel insurmountable, but really it's just going to take a couple of plays to strung together to be able to get right back in this football game.
Snap a little high. 1st down run, though, for Josh Adams to the 33-yard line.
I think they should turn around, Greg, right here and run it again. And do it quickly.
Over and over again.
First down, second down, run it, get in third and manageable.
McGlinchey and Nelson, the left side of your offensive line, are both All-American candidates. Follow them.
Notre Dame averaging less than a yard per play on first down. And Adams stumbled that time and did not get back to the line of scrimmage. Second and long. And the play caller for Notre Dame is Mike Denbrock. He's the associate head coach and wide receivers coach. Mike Sanford is the offensive coordinator. He's up in the booth, is involved in, as well, of course. Second down and a 10. They gave him the line of scrimmage there on that first carry. Notre Dame hasn't started 2-4 since 2007 when they started the year 0-5 and finished 3-9 under Charlie Weiss. Another run play, trying to find a lane as Adams. Broken tackle at the 40, stiff arming, and knocked out of bounds after he got the first down. That was a terrific run by Josh Adams.
Great run by Josh Adams. That's what you need if you're Notre Dame. Look, it's hard to block. It's hard to keep good footing on this wet football field. It's also hard to wrap up, obviously. Great run by Adams as he gets another first down for the Irish.
12 yards there to get him to 46 now on the game. And Kaiser is going to throw. Pump fake. Looking downfield. Takes off. And it's going to be another sack. Kentavious Street is there for NC State.
Notre Dame tried to dial up a double move. A little stop and go by St. Brown. Nothing was home. Good job by this NC State defense not jumping at that hitch route and giving up a big one down the sideline and allowing their defensive line to get to the backfield.
5th sack of the day for the Pack. Here's 2nd and 12. Adams able to get 3 or 4. That'll make it a little bit more manageable for 3rd down. Are you in 4-down territory now? 6:40 remaining in the game. This type of game?
I think it is. Right here, you can run it or throw it. If you do throw it, think behind the line of scrimmage, maybe a screen or something that's high percentage completion. You don't want to take the opportunity to go for it on 4th down away by having an incompletion here to set up 4th and 9.
Kaiser has Dexter Williams in the backfield with him. From the 47 of Notre Dame. Kaiser setting up. Everybody covered, so he takes off. Gets drilled. Comes up short of the first down as Moore pops him. But he did get about 7 yards, so 4th down and 2, and it looks like the Irish will go.
Great decision by Deshaun Kaiser right there. Nothing open. Good job by the in-state secondary. Going north and south. Understanding that 4th and 2 gives your team a chance. Decisive play by the quarterback.
Again, Dexter Williams back there with Kaiser on 4th down and 2. And Kaiser going to pass on 4th down. In trouble. Gets hit. Stays in bounds and picks it up. He spun off of a defender, was able to keep his feet. Josh Jones came up and made the hit, but didn't wrap up.
That right foot. That angle, it looks like he might have stepped on the line. Very, very close right there.
And again, ruling in the field is that he's inbounds.
Play is under further review.
I agree with you, though. It looks like he stepped out there with his right foot. That would give NC State the ball if this is overturned, because clearly there he was short of the line to gain.
Guys, if you look at the sideline of Notre Dame and look at the player on the sideline that is watching Deshaun Kaiser spin around and watch his reaction.
Are you saying that he stepped out?
Yeah, I think he knows he's out. If you watch him from the sideline on the wide angle, you're going to see him respond because I think he sees it.
And it did look like with that replay, that that right foot is on chalk. But again, has to be indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt to overturn a call. Is that the case right there?
Looks awfully close. Looking for any reaction on the sideline. They appear very optimistic on the Notre Dame sideline.
Well, somebody's getting a first down. Either it's Notre Dame or NC State. After this is reviewed, Dennis Redding is our replay official, with help from the ACC Game Day Operations Center. Collaborative effort on these.
Really good effort by Kaiser, though. Can't overlook that. Knowing, look, 4th and 2, gotta go for it, gotta get it. Doing everything he can to stay in bounds. Just tremendous effort by the quarterback. Hasn't had his best day throwing the football, naturally. He's trying to put the team on his back like he's done so many times over the course of his career.
Quite different from what we saw from Notre Dame last week, where they scored, what, 23 points in 5 minutes. Obviously the conditions were different, but the bad weather, rain, wind, mud, it'll get the best of great players like Kaiser. We pointed out again that it has to be indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt.
The ruling on the field stands.
So there you go. They felt that there was not enough video evidence to make it 100% clear that the call on the field was wrong. Therefore, it stands, and it's a first down for Notre Dame.
One more look at it. Zaire, that right foot. You can't tell with certainty that that foot is out of bounds. This is a good job by the officials. Good decision. And look who's in at quarterback, Malik Zaire. Better run threat than Kaiser.
They're inside the 40-yard line. And slipping there was Zaire. And again, it's not where you end up on the slide. It's where you end up with the ball when you went down first. And that was at the line of scrimmage. Maybe even a half-yard loss on the play. And that'll be it for Zaire. Interesting that they went to that for the first time this late in the game with 5 minutes to go. We haven't seen Zaire on offense at all prior to that snap. Kaiser going to hand it off here, trying to get outside as Williams picks up maybe 3. And again, we're showing you that field goal target line in this situation because that's the normal range for Justin Yu, not today. And really, a field goal helps you none in this situation. So you're in 4-down territory, 3rd down and 7.
Same situation as before. If you're Kaiser, nothing there, got to go north and south with your legs. It's a great athlete.
They are 1 of 13 on 3rd down. It's been 3rd and long all day. 0 for 5 this half. Kaiser in the pocket. Everybody covered, so he takes off and is short of the line to gain. Moore with a tackle. 4th and 1. It would be about a 53-yard field goal from here. And again, a field goal really didn't help you. So they're going to go on 4th down.
Another good decision by Kaiser. Nothing there downfield. North and south. You're a big body. 230 pounds. You're hard to bring down. Don't be afraid to use your legs in this situation. Wouldn't be surprised if they give it to him on a run again.
And NC State's going to call a timeout to discuss it.
Timeout. North Carolina State.
So 4th down and 1 for Notre Dame, trailing by a touchdown when we return. Kick off your Week 5 NFL Sunday with us on ESPN at 10 a.m. Eastern, NFL Insider Sunday edition. All the early breaking stories and injury news. Then at 11 a.m., the new NFL Sunday Countdown Crew with Chris Berman and company. 4th down and 1 for Notre Dame at the 31-yard line of NC State. The Irish with their best drive of the day, 11 plays, 49 yards. Can they pick up a yard here to keep their hopes alive? It's a handoff, and getting close is Josh Adams. Based on where the officials are standing, it looks like it's enough to move the sticks. They're going to measure, but it looks like he got it.
A-gap to A-gap. Just power football. Looks like he has enough.
Boy, Greg, if you're a Notre Dame fan, I think you just love the fact they just lined up and hammered as opposed to trying to throw the ball like we saw earlier on 4th down.
And Kaiser's made good decisions.
Oh, look at this. Oh, my goodness.
There's nothing there.
He didn't get it
there.
Or did he? They say that he got it. The NC State players were acting as if it was their ball. The referee saw it a different way. Didn't mean to interrupt there, but
yeah.
But there was a discrepancy between the referee and the NC State players, so Notre Dame's 2 of 2 on 4th down.
Is this a game of inches or what?
Sometimes on days like this, it's hard to see the inches amongst the mud and water on the field. High snap. Kaiser pulls it down. Looking. Zipping it through the hands of the intended receiver, Kevin Stefferson. As we mentioned, this is the best drive of the day by far for Notre Dame. They had a total of 53 yards on their first 12 drives. 49 here. 2nd down and 10.
We've also seen 10 fumbles today. This has been the craziest game I have ever seen in my life.
NC State looking like going to bring a corner blitz here with Mike Stevens. Here he comes. Kaiser throws. Wide open man inside the 20 is St. Brown. The blitz was picked up, and it's a 12-yard gain and a 1st down for the Irish.
Got to think they're going to go back to the ground now. They've had a couple of nice completions. But Kaiser, he's been effective when he's run this series.
They spread it out here. Let's see if it's a quarterback run. Nope. Kaiser throwing. Along the sideline, it's dropped by St. Brown at the 12-yard line. This shows the trust the coaches have in this quarterback, and he put that one on him.
He did. It wasn't the prettiest spiral in the world, but very accurate nonetheless. And you're seeing a lot of cushion from this NC State secondary. So they're trying to do some pitch and catch underneath right there. Now they're behind the sticks with 2nd and 10.
16th play of the drive for Notre Dame. Trailing by a touchdown inside the red zone. Kaiser to throw again. Long pass. Dropped again. Stefferson couldn't hang on. 3rd and 10.
Notre Dame likes what they're getting right now with some of this 5-wide formation. They're spreading the field. They're trying to make NC State play in space, which is very difficult to do, knowing the field conditions and how wet it is to keep good footing.
Trying to convert on 3rd down for the first time here in the 2nd half. It's 3rd and 10. Another pass play for Kaiser. Now steps up. Wrapped up after a short gain, maybe 2. And so Notre Dame forced to go for it on 4th down and 8. Tackle made by Andreas Bryant for the Wolfpack. So a timeout taken by Notre Dame. 4th and long when we come back. Tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN, #1 Alabama is on the road at Arkansas. We saw Bama last week. True freshman Jalen Hurts. He's a player, and he's already won at Ole Miss. Is this a bigger challenge going to Arkansas?
This is a tough spot. 2 years ago, Alabama won that game 14-13 in their last trip to Fayetteville. The Hog fans will be ready to welcome the Tide to town once again.
Justin Yoon warming up in case there is a touchdown. 4th and 8. Notre Dame 2 of 3 on 4th down. Here we go. NC State looking like it's going to bring some pressure. Kaiser changing things up. Plenty of time on the play clock. And Kaiser wasn't ready for the snap. He's got to pick it up. He has to pick it up and throw it. Instead, he's drilled. He gets rid of the pass. It's a forward pass that's caught by a lineman. That's a penalty flag. And NC State is going to take over. Jared Fernandez, who's played a whale of the game, was back there. But you could tell Kaiser was not ready for the snap from the center, Sam Mustipher. And he is getting an earful from head coach Brian Kelly right now.
Have to feel for that young man. Tough circumstances. Had a lot of issues between the quarterback and the center, especially when they've been in shotgun today. Certainly feel for Sam Mustipher.
And Kaiser there did a good job. He knew he had to pick it up. He couldn't fall on it. It's 4th down. He had to take a risk of picking it up.
Illegal touching against the offense. That penalty's declined. Results in the play. 1st down.
As we said, no offensive lineman can catch a forward pass. It was the left tackle, Mike McGlinchey. But again, he was 30 yards short of the line to gain anyway. So NC State takes over on downs. Notre Dame has 2 timeouts remaining and 1:52 on the clock. So it's possible they could get the ball back one more time. And again, keep in mind, just the snap, as we just saw, from quarterback to center, it's not a guarantee that NC State isn't going to make a mistake down here.
McClendon, the quarterback in the game right now, he's been the guy they've leaned on with some of the quarterback run game techniques. Expect them to go to that well again here on 1st and 10.
Out of the shotgun is McClendon. He'll keep it. Breaks a tackle and picks about 8 yards on Wallow on the stop. But that's an excellent 1st down run for NC State. Notre Dame going to hold on to the timeouts right now.
You're NC State and you're the quarterback, McClendon. You're looking at that clock tick, 19, 18, looking at the shot clock, knowing you want to let it go down to 1 or 2 before you snap this football.
On 2nd and 3, it's Days bouncing to the outside. He got the 1st down and more. Days to midfield. Matt Days, a spectacular read that time to cut to the outside, get the 1st down, and maybe the win for North Carolina State. The clock is running when they reset the chains. I'm surprised Notre Dame didn't use a timeout. Guess at this point probably wouldn't matter. This is going to be the 4th loss of the season for Notre Dame, and the Wolfpack will improve to 4-1 with a date at Clemson next week. Now they go under center and take a knee. Now Brian Kelly calls a timeout. All right, let's get folks caught up because we're about 4 hours into the game now. This was the made field goal that North Carolina State had in the 1st half to go up 3-0 from 38 yards. And then an interception on 3rd and goal thrown by Kaiser. The Irish did tie the game after getting a takeaway early in the 3rd on that short field goal. However, this was the play of the game. The block punt returned for a touchdown by Dexter Wright. McKeever blocked it, and then moments ago, not ready for the snap, not on the same page with the center, Mustipher. And NC State takes over on downs and is 13 seconds away from winning the game. Fewest points scored by Notre Dame in the Brian Kelly era. Again, obviously the weather a big reason why. But it doesn't get any easier for the Irish. They still have Stanford, Miami, Virginia Tech, USC on the schedule. NC State back-to-back road games at Clemson, at Louisville. Don't worry about that later. They'll celebrate this one. They put some time back on the clock. And Brian Kelly uses his last time out here.
He says, look, we're going to make them snap it. Center quarterback exchange is no sure thing under these circumstances. This has been the craziest game I've ever seen with my own two eyes. So many fumbles, so many mistakes, crazy plays, center quarterback issues, punts blocked. It's had it all here in Raleigh, and a gutsy effort by both these teams. Difficult circumstances. They did the very best they could, obviously under those circumstances.
Bottom line, Greg, is that these guys, NC State Wolfpack, they handled these conditions better than Notre Dame did. They made fewer errors than Notre Dame did.
And that's what it comes down to, Luke, in a situation like this. Who makes the fewest mistakes? NC State will be victorious today because they did not make the same amount of errors as the Irish.
They get the snap to McClendon. He takes a knee, and the game is over. NC State knocks off Notre Dame. North Carolina State players are diving onto the ground, sliding 10, 15 yards, just enjoying this one. I bet Coach Doran's pretty happy he's standing by with Luke.
Well, Coach, just about everything you could possibly imagine that you don't want to play in football happened today, and the bottom line is your kids handled it better than they did. Describe their focus throughout the week in getting this victory today.
Well, we've said all along, we can beat anybody if we don't beat ourselves. And our guys got a lot of heart. They're tough. I love them to death. Really proud of them. We controlled the controllables. We didn't let the variables that we don't control get in our lives today. That's why we won.
From a defensive standpoint, I know you have a defensive background. How proud are you of this group?
It was unbelievable. It didn't matter what happened. Put the ball down, let us play. Let's go get it. They got big hearts, man. I love them.
Go enjoy it, Coach.
Thank you very much. Go Pack.
NC State knocks off Notre Dame. 10-3 is the final score. Everybody that roots for the Wolfpack enjoying this despite the elements. We head you back to the studio after these messages. So long from Raleigh.